Following the fireworks in the dark at Monza, we take the small trip from Italy to Germany to another F1 track. As tonight, the Race Anywhere World Series visits the Hockenheimring. It's round 7 here on Absolute Sim Racing. Good evening, everybody. My name is Craig King, and as per usual, I have Daniel Hanover with me on the microphone and the cameras. Now, Hockenheimring opened in 1932, and it's seen a lot of changes from the old circuit where it was just a straight to towns and villages. It still became a track with just straights, but those iconic straights through the forest from the 90s that I remember a lot of people also remember. That old layout, 6.8 kilometers long. Now, that was changed in 2002. We had a redesign. It's now slightly smaller, 4.5 kilometers, 17 turns. And it's a fantastic addition to the F1 circuit. Now, it's used for DTM as well. As I was saying, German Grand Prix, and one use of the European Grand Prix as well. It had been alternated with the Nürburgring for 7 years and then became the full-time host of the German Grand Prix back in 2018. Now, it's got a drag strip as well, so it does have drag racing. And now, I think we all remember the 2019 German Grand Prix in the wet. That drag strip, when it gets wet, just outside turn 15 and 16, it's an ice ring. It has no traction. You saw a lot of people doing that in the F1, and I've got to be honest, I don't think we'll be seeing that today, but it is on the it's just there on the exit there. Daniel, I know we're not going to see anybody lose control there. But in a drag racing term, I think the first to the line tonight probably has the best advantage with 3 races after this to win the championship. Don't you agree?
Well, I think certainly so. It's really still quite hard to tell. There's still a few rounds left to go. There's lots and lots of things that can happen. So, realistically, we're still not 100% sure. But yeah, Hockenheim, I'd almost say that this is a track with a fair amount of overtaking opportunities going down through Parabolica, down into the hairpin. That's a very, very good overtaking opportunity. Down into turn 1, if you're brave enough, turn 2, turn 7. There's so many different opportunities to overtake. If you are leading going on the exit of turn 1, you may not necessarily be leading on the exit of turn 4. But, well, again, that's all speculation. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's fantastic, the turns there. Of course, turn 3 into 4, once you come out of turn 2, quite wide. It's very, very surprising how wide it is onto that run down to the parabolic at turn 5 and the hairpin at turn 6. You're seeing the amateurs out there at the moment, so it gives me a good time as they're doing their first lap. So just to let you know how the amateur championship is shaping up, and it's shaping up really well. Sauerhaug, 480 points. Get this, he has a 75-point lead over P2, Richard Dean Timms. Dean Timms sits at 405, and behind him, the battle for the rest of the position is fantastic. Frederick Droy, 385 points. Johan Assen, 380 points. Edison Manguera, 375. Werner S in P6, 355. Even down to P10, Magma Yonlund, who's tied on 9th actually with Simon Dodd and David Meekin with 325 apiece. It's just so close. Anybody can get that last spot at the moment, but I think there's only 2 to 4 drivers that I think have the best chance of winning the championship now, and that's Sauerhaug, Timms, Roy, and Assen, as we can just see, and that is Henning Haig. He is out there at the moment for Sloma. I love this Audi. It promises to actually be quite a good car around here today, I think.
It certainly does. Yeah, the Audi's a pretty good car. I mean, the Lamborghini's also a very, very good car as well. We've got... We're getting the first times in, actually. Werner S has just gone through. He set his first lap time with a 1:37.71. That is a benchmark at the moment. Ingo Lapsin doesn't beat that, and neither does Edson Manguera as it stands. Sauterhaug beats that, though. Wasn't able to attend qualifying. Wasn't running in qualifying last week, but he's certainly running qualifying here for the slow mode up node Ultra car number 98. And he's put in a 3.5 tenths gap over Werner S. So Lamborghini seems to be working well at the moment, but Johan Assen, he's just gone up into second and has been immediately replaced by Henning Haig. Until we get these first laps through, having the AM category is going to give us a good understanding of realistically, you can probably expect the pro guys to be around the sort of half a second to 0.7 of a second faster. Realistically, it's not all the time, obviously, but it gives us a sense of what car is going to be at the front of the field. And to be honest, I mean, Dean Timms is the first Ferrari currently, and Dean Timms is currently, just above Simon Dodd. And this running in P5. So there's no one that tends there's not one that tends to be pushing forward at the moment. We're not seeing a particular car that's currently a bit OP for this round.
No, exactly. And I remember when the last time the GT3 series went to this, I mean, we're talking the iRacing GT3 series. Last time it came here to Hockenheim, it was just as the Porsche came out. So the Porsche was the shiny new toy, and it was getting a lot of views, but so was the Lamborghini. And it was just one of those cars that, because of its balance, it was fantastic to drive around here. Same with Henning Hagen, the Audi. It's, you know, the Lamborghini is basically the younger brother of the Audi. So we're expecting those cars to be well. The Ferrari, though, when you think about it, it's 2 to 5 tenths slower at the moment. When you can go, you see Werner S and Ingo Lapsian have decided that's it for them, as they're going to stay in. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And the BMW, that's a surprise to me to see them so high up at the moment. But here comes Magma Jonglin, and we just see some other times coming in. Magma Jonglin is just coming around the final corner. He's been coming across the start-finish line right now. Does he improve? I don't think he does. And some more times coming around now. Simon Dodd, I think, just goes across. Look at that, 137.650. That's what he wants to see. He goes up into P4. He did not have a very good Monza race last week, but he is looking to redeem himself. And that P4 would put him good, in good strength at the moment.
Certainly so, yes. So as it stands, that is everyone now across the line. So Zatterhaug maintains his lead over Johan Assen, provisionally in the AM category, but it's only by 0.06 of a second. So it's not all that much, to be fair. And we all know, don't we? Let's be honest. These laps around here, these sort of gaps, it's really, really not a lot, is it? To be perfectly honest, it's one of those ones where, again, you look at it from a perspective. It's too close to call. Okay, it's simply too close to call, and we really aren't going to know until the first round, second round of pit stops. We say this a lot of the time as well. We just don't know what's going to happen until until the pit stops then happen, and then we've got a good understanding of how much fuel have people taken, what sort of pace are they able to achieve, and then we can sort of start to paint a picture around you. But again, that's what you've seen throughout the season. We've seen several different winners here as well, which is, again, fantastic for us, and it's given us a nice opportunity to, one person hasn't exactly run away with all the time, have there? There's been a nice bit of variation throughout the season.
No, I think the biggest win per se would probably have been Daytona. And I think that was Kaz Huguenot it wasn't Kaz Huguenot. It was Daytona, which basically just the script was just flipped, and we all thought it was going to be a slipstream battle, and it turned out to be completely the opposite. That's the only time where we've looked at it and been, well, this is the one-sided affair. Every race has been so close, and this is going to be an interesting one because we've been to the likes of Monza, Daytona, Le Mans, Road America. We've gone to tracks with big straights. Now, I know we've got the Parabolica. We've got the run down to turn 7. There is straight still here, but I don't think they're going to be much of a factor compared to, having to take a big straight at Road America and then lifting or going for a move or Daytona or Le Mans. This is going to be something a bit different, which I'm looking forward to. It's probably the first technical track since the Nürburgring per se. So we're looking at the Pro-Ams out there right now. Cody Pry is still leading the way in the Pro-Ams with 505 points. Daniel Sedgley is P2 with 480. Svenning Madsen 440. Remember, both those drivers don't have a drop week. Their first race was a DNF, so they have no drop week compared to Cody Pry, who already used his drop week. So that's going to be one to keep an eye out for. Will Richardson in P4 with 435. Ethan Bass 420. That rounds up the top 5. And really, to be fair, they're the only ones that have a decent shot now to take any positions on the podium, but of course you've still got Joachim Koh sitting there 360, Alvin Kjellberg 350, the same as Chris Wally, so there are still places to be had, but yeah, at the moment it's Cody Pry versus Daniel Sedgley at the top.
It is indeed. So Daniel Sedgley on his first lap, as you can see, there's no real one thing we have seen a couple of times from teammates as well is we do tend to see a little bit of team assistance with one another. It doesn't seem to be the case. What I mean by that is when people are drafting, etc., etc. We're not actually quite seeing that at the moment. I wonder if we are going to see that a little bit in terms of maybe later or maybe in the pros qualifying. Perhaps we simply don't know. One person is actually getting a nice bit of toe off of the car in front is Thomas Reiter in the BMW. So that will be something to keep an eye out for. Will that improve the time? I'm sure it will do, but how much? There is Will Richardson, so that is the person that Reiter was getting the toe off of. It does depend if they can stay, and Reiter can stay within that sort of second window. That's when it's going to actually start to make a difference. It's dropping back ever so slightly, so Will Richardson may be able to clear Reiter before the next couple of strokes. Seems to be all okay at the moment. We've got the first flying laps that will be coming in for you in a few moments. Chris Chanderton, where is he? He's coming around the final corner now. As we go through, great camera angle here. This is going to be one we're going to be using a lot throughout the race, I can assure you. Over the curb, doesn't get an off track because that is all okay. Chanderton comes in. And what is the time going to be straight out? It is going to be a 1:37.44. There you go. There's Cody Pride just gone. Thank you very much. So he's now up into provisional pole. But Thomas Reiter decides that he wants to come away. So he did get a bit of a toe off Will Richardson. That certainly would have helped him. He now leads the way with a 1:36.73. Svenja Madsen goes up now into provisional pole. He is now leading the way with a 1:36.64. So it's still quite close. We've got a few drivers left to come in though. We've got Daniel Gilding's just set his first lap time. You can see that Ryan Hamilton's also set his first flying lap. Chris Wally has unfortunately able to set a lap this particular time around. His last lap was actually an off track. It would have been removed in some way. I'd imagine that would be for an off track. So one more opportunity to do so. But Svenja Madsen has moved ahead of the field. Only though, spared by less than a tenth of a second. So still very, very close.
You know, it's amazing how close it is when you look at it. And again, a Lamborghini or a BMW. I'm surprised to see the BMW so far up there, but Thomas Reiter really throwing that car around. I mean, the next fastest BMW is Will Richardson in 5th, but you just look at the time. Will Richardson's a 37.029, and Thomas Reiter's a 36.726. A really good time there from Reiter in that BMW, but again, like we were saying, Lamborghini, Porsche, I mean, there's no Audis here. Even Bass as well in the Ford, 137.217. How on earth you can get around here in a Ford, I don't know. I know he's been doing a lot of setup planning just to work out what wing to be doing. But as we see Chris Wally going around, he is the only car that's out there that has not set a lap time. And now he comes around to the Sud curve. What is he going to do as he comes around the final corner? He will cross the line. That may be an off track, not entirely sure. I might be wrong, but he'll come across the line at 1:37.404. That puts him down 10th overall, about 9th for the class. And other times are now starting to come in. Eric Benson does go up. So does Ethan Bass. Ethan Bass with a 36.950. Where did he get that time? Ryan Hamilton set the first lap. And then Daniel Gilding throws in a 1:37.350. Joachim Code is one of the last ones to set a lap time here. What does he do? Chris Wally does get that time, as we were saying. Joachim Code, a 1:37.424. And that's a spin.
And there we go, just to round it off for good measure. I think one of the only people... Actually, no, that is everything, because Daniel Gooding is just going through. So that is it. We're going to go to the pit wall, just to have a quick look at where the other cars are currently out on circuit. They will be coming out in a few moments' time. In fact, there they are. There's Cass Huguenot that we can just see. You've got obviously Cass Huguenot, Stuart Reynolds, Sean Campbell, all the drivers, Nick Madsen, Nedgelik, Podchairs, Gal, Bennett, Orton, Wills. All of the usual suspects that we can see in the Pro. Yeah, I don't think that was qualifying for some people. I'm sure they would have preferred qualifying to be a little bit more competitive, which is a little bit of a shame. However, again, we've got some things that we obviously need to take into account for that. Draft is obviously one of them. That's a very, very big one, actually. As Cass Huguenot, the first person out of the door, Alex Gowl just behind. There it goes, Harry Wills in the only Mercedes on this grid. Actually, no, apologies. No, Haddad is also in the Mercedes as well. So one of two Mercedes on the grid. It's going to be close at the front of the field. Make no mistake. It's close enough when it comes to the Pro-Ams and the Am category. The Pros, I'm sure, will be no different. Everyone makes their way now out onto the circuit, and that is all of the Pro drivers now ready to go. Harley Hornton in full send racing, the number 20, makes his way down through Parabolica for the first time to keep the tyres up to temperature. Got to try and get some temp into the tyres nice and quickly. You don't want to overheat them. You don't want to push too much. You don't want to put the tyres through too much load, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you can give everyone enough of or give the tyres enough of a chance to actually get some heat into them. Also, the brakes as well. There's some heavy braking zones here. If your brakes aren't up to temperature, it's not going to end well.
No, I think everyone has seen the old videos and the videos before of overtakes at the hairpin, or people just getting the braking run at the hairpin. It's not a conventional hairpin. It's one of the tightest ones you'll see around, and not only that, it is also probably one of the hardest braking zones because of that rundown from the parabolic. As you see, Harley Horton is still warming up those tires, even as he comes into the Mobile 1 corner, and there he is through turn 11 into the very tricky Sachs curve into turn 12, where it's just a little bit. You look at this corner and you think it's quite an easy hairpin, but you're halfway through and then you're full throttle and you realize it's not a hairpin. It's almost like two corners put together, then 13 and 14 into 15, and then you just see there's the drag strip, and they will be trying to avoid that as they come into the sud curve. A little bit of a slide, won't give him the best of time to start, but he gets his first lap going. Just a quick rundown, of course, of the championship. Again, it's just as close as it is here. The two Alexes, there's Alex Gal, the two Alexes leading the fray. Alex Bennett 505 and Alex Gal 490. Cass Huguenot sitting on 455 and Nicholas De Beach sitting on 445. And Augusto Calasimi, who get well soon. I believe he is ill. He is unable due to illness tonight, sitting fifth with 380. But like I said, those top four still in a chance here. But it's just amazing how those two Alexes have just pulled away so much.
Indeed, it's so. Yes, two Alexes are sort of really pushing away. Look at Nick Madsen loading up that steering lock, trying to get some heat into the tyres. I'd imagine you're putting them through a little bit of a scrub, but that's okay. You're only doing a couple of laps, so you can almost, if anything, you want to try and scrub the tyres in a little bit if you can. Try and break that sort of initial, like very just the top layer of tread off. iRacing certainly does have a good tyre duration, life cycle that you can really sort of feel as you go through. So again, just almost trying to break that a little bit. Going through the slow speed corners a little bit wide. That won't be a time that Nick Madsen will be too impressed with, because that will be an off track. So that is it for Nick Madsen's first lap. It means he's only got one more to go. Times are coming in now. Cass Huguenot set the early bar, but straight away we have had Alex Gal take that out straight away. Markin Ledgelick and then Alex Bennett seem to be coming down as well. Stuart Reynolds just puts in his first lap time. He goes through into third. Where is Nick Madsen going to? Actually, no, Nick Madsen won't set a lap time because it was unavailable. What's Harley Horton's first lap time going to be? Goes up in, it's good enough for P2. Half a tenth behind Alex Gal. So Harley Horton at the moment sort of really pushing away. And you know what? I don't think Harley Horton decided that he's going to do another lap. No, he has not. He decided that was going to be enough for him. And now he goes into the pit. I wonder if he's trying to do like a tactical advantage, trying to take a riskier strategy, but only put enough fuel for simply one flying lap.
If he's done that, unfortunately, it's a good time, but it's just not enough to beat Alex Gal, who's still going around. And you do see you've got Benson here around with his with other teammates as well. And that's one car pulling to one side there. Who was that pulling to one side? I'm not entirely sure. But you can see Bennett is going through. I'm keeping my eyes as well on the rest of the field. I just want to point out, Alex Gal is a man on his own. It's a horse in a bull shop right now, because everybody around him is Lamborghinis, except for Thomas Reiter. You look at the top 10, 7 of them are Lamborghinis, 1 BMW, 1 Porsche, 1 Ferrari. And of course, the BMW is the Pro-Am of Thomas Reiter. And Alex Gal comes into the pits. Kaz Huguenot's the only one that's going to set a time here. Can he go faster? I do not think he can go faster. He does not. Alex Bennett is going to be the next man to go around here. He is the last man, I think, that had the time here. So 1:36.607. It only puts him up ahead of the Pro-Ams. It still keeps him P5 overall for the pros. And Harry Wills does come across the line last time. I think Stuart Reynolds is the last man to set a time. He does indeed. Again, he stays P4. So once again, nobody making any advances up the field in the second lap, which probably shows everyone's just giving it all they've got on the first lap for the pros by the looks of it.
Yeah, you give it all you got and you use your tyres up and that's that, really. I mean, again, it might not be that, obviously. But it certainly would seem that way. We've seen that for the last sort of few rounds. So, yes, no improvement moving forward, which is a little bit of a shame. And again, I'm sure, I'll tell you, one person that will certainly won't be impressed by that is Alex Bennett. However, we have had a couple of times as well that are insanely close, one of which is we do have Cass Huguenot and Stuart Reynolds times. a lot of these drivers separate. You can actually see on the timing tab to the left-hand side of you. A lot of these drivers separated by hundreds and thousands, let alone tenths, which I find absolutely madness, to be perfectly honest. So that is also something that we're going to see more and more, especially in these last few rounds, because everyone's just putting in that little bit extra. You're seeing the times just gradually decrease. All the times are starting to shrink, just because the competition is so high. You have to put in the time. If you don't, that's when it can all go just a little bit wrong. And any advantage that you can gain, regardless whether it's what Harley Horton was doing, for example, getting that bit of extra track position, sacrificing the fact of him getting a banker lap in, or being able to set a banker lap and then a flyer, just to get a bit more track position. Arguably behind Alex Gal, you're going to find, again, we saw this last week, and we saw it at Monza especially. I imagine we're going to see it here as well. The pros, there will not be a lot of fighting. I can't imagine. There'll be hardly any fighting, to be fair, at least for the first sort of 30 to 35 minutes. That would be my guess initially.
I'm just looking at these times, and like we're seeing the tower here on the stream, as you can see. That's done by class, of course. But if you look at the times for everybody, there is no gap bigger than a tenth until you get between the gap between the guy who was 12th fastest and 13th fastest. So the top 12, each of them are separated by hundredths, not tenths, by hundredths. If I was doing oval racing, I'd expect to see this. I wouldn't expect to see this type of competitiveness and how close it is at this time. On a road race, I'd expect to see it when I'm doing oval racing, which is kind of mind-blowing. Again, it just goes to show you. But again, I have to stress, so many of those drivers are Lamborghinis. It really just goes to show that the Lamborghini around here is the better choice. And I've got to be honest, when I was doing racing here before, BMW is my bread and butter, but it doesn't have the ability to take the corners. It relies on taking a lot of corner speed to go through things. But when you got turn 2, you got the hairpin, turn 6, slacks. There's not a lot of speed there, but the Lamborghini can get in the middle of the corner and get on the throttle early. It can be a bit more aggressive. That doesn't surprise me. What surprises me, though, is just how much they're dominating at the moment, which, you expect to see. Everyone makes a joke when it comes to GTEs, how it's the Porsche Cup. It has been for a while now for the GT3s. It's you're either a Lamborghini, a Porsche, or a BMW. But to see that many Lamborghinis does surprise me. So I am quite shocked about that. But again, anything can happen in the race. Different types of fuel saving. Again, we talked about the overtaking places. I got to be honest though, Alex. How about overtaking at turn 8 at Mercedes? What do you think?
Turn 8? That's a bit of a brave one, to be perfectly honest. Is it? Which one's turn 8? I'm just trying to think. Mercedes. That's Mercedes.
That is the left-hander. That is before turn 7. That is after turn 7, which is that kink after the hairpin.
I mean, it's certainly possible.
It's high speed. It's high speed.
It is high speed. It's not. You tend to find the second half of the lap, the overtaking opportunities start to. They don't disappear completely, but the final sort of 5 or 6 corners, it's a lot trickier because simply they are. You're carrying momentum throughout the corner. They are medium braking zones almost. Like you're not slowing down as much as you would be. So I mean, you may even see people trying to put it up the inside of the last corner, for example. If they can get a good run, person on the outside or person in front has a little bit of a wiggle over on the drag strip or leading onto the drag strip, that could also have an effect. We simply just don't know, to be honest. I've seen a few interesting overtakes, to say the least, that places like the last corner, second to last corner and stuff. Have they worked? No. Are we going to see potentially some overtakes like that? Yeah, we may very well do. And these drivers here, they're safe enough. They give each other respect. So I'm sure we're going to see some very, very committed overtakes. But like I said, they're not going to happen until the latter half of the race, I would imagine.
No, I gotta be honest though, that overtake in the last corner, I think that's more risky than overtake at Mercedes personally, but I think it's because it's just the way that 15 goes into 16, those last 2 corners, they almost come together with the way you've got to take them, but that's that for the moment. So we're going to take a quick break. Once again, a shout out to the sponsors, raceanywhere.co.uk, and of course Sim3D for their sponsorship. We're going to take a break. We will be back for the race. Everyone will be ready as they just do their little practices, and don't go anywhere because in about 10 minutes you will see 75 minutes of GT3s at Hockenheim, so stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here live at Absolute Sim Racing. We are getting ready for 75 minutes of Hockenheimring for the Race Anywhere World Series. Now remember, 2 mandatory pit stops, and this is the first time since the Nürburgring. I say ring a couple times there. This is the first time since the Nürburgring we've had a proper technical track for them to go around for 75 minutes. Expect some slipstreaming, but expect a lot of driving. So you can just see the standings at the moment. You can just see it's just a little bit wrong there, but we'll get that correct for you. There we go. Here we go straight away. We can see it's going to be Alex Gal taking pole position with Harley Horton P2, Cassie Huguenot third, and Stuart Reynolds in fourth. Alex Bennett, Martin Nedlick, and Nick Madsen, followed by Harry Wills and Frederick Podchek, brings up the rest for the pros. In the pro-hours, it's Svenny Mattis and Thomas Reiter on the front. Eric Benson and Cody Pryor will be second and third. Then Ethan Bass and Will Richardson will be your rest. And you can just see the rest as you go through. I mean, and he also includes Alvin Kelbo, Daniel Gilding, Daniel Sedgley, Ryan Hamilton, Chris Wally, Chris Chatterton, and Joachim Coe. Then Sauerhaug, Teresa Sauerhaug, championship leader in the amateurs. Once again, on pole, Johan Assen will be beside him. Then it's Henning Haig and Simon Dodd, followed by Werner S., Dean Timms, and then Ingo Lapsian, Edison Manguera, Magma Youngland, Frederick Droy, and Atref Al-Haddad is on a row all by himself. I'm not on my own, of course. Daniel Gilding, Daniel Hanover. Daniel Gilding's racing out there. Sorry, Daniel. You're here with me. You can't go racing. Sorry.
I mean, it's a shame, isn't it? I'd love to be able to do a race. I've done it a couple of times where I've jumped in for like some comms, sort of not last minute, but sort of as like as almost an interview while I've been racing. It's hilarious fun to do. It's also terrifying as well because your attention is diverted. But yes, anyway, we're just about to get going. There is Alex Gow from the Blimp Cam. We are going to have a look. Obviously, there is a bit of a gap between the 3 classes, so we're going to spend a little bit of time with the pro category. Then we're going to go to Pro-Am, and then we're going to go to AB. 9 cars in the pro category. Who is going to get the jump? It's not too much of a jump going down. The pace car's going to pull in, and there's not going to be too much of a gap before Alex Gow can go. So I feel it's going to be a little bit closer this time around.
It'll be very close, and all eyes on the Nord curve. Mainly the Nord curve. We'll see what happens at turn 2, but this first curve at high speeds can be a little bit treacherous. How long will Alex hold them on for? He lets them wait. He's got all the time in the world to do this, and there he goes, catching them up pretty nicely. Does Kaz Huguenot get a run here on Harley Horton? He does not, and behind there is going to be a little bit of time, but they all get in single file. That's good racing by everybody. They're all single file. Just around the back, Nick Madsen might be having a go on. That is Alex Bennett. He's looking to have a go on. And into the braking, he does go. Is there going to be any hits here? No. Everybody gets around 3, but look at Kaz Huguenot. He's trying to go around the outside after going inside of Harley Horton. Going to be a sprint race to the hairpin, and I believe with the inside there could be Huguenot time to shine. Let's look at the Pro-Ams right now.
Indeed, we've seen a little bit of a linear start as well. We've got a bit of side-by-side. Ethan Bass trying to go on the outside of Albin Kelberg, and that is actually a move done and dusted, I believe, there. So that's going on. Seems to be all okay, but Ethan Bass still trying to push through as it stands at the moment, as we have got Albin Kelberg trying to fight back. Meanwhile, coming down now into the AM category, it all seems to be, again, relatively clean at the moment. We haven't had anyone, touch wood, that's had a moment yet, especially sort of near enough.
Said that, and then that El Haddad just getting clipped by Youngland trying to go around 3 wide and go straight into the wall. You cursed the man.
I do apologise. Actually, that's certainly. Oh, I heard another incident there as well. I heard another bit of contact. Don't know what happened there. I think Thomas Wright had a crash. Oh, I've said the wrong thing. I have said the one thing that commentators are not supposed to say, and now look what's happened. A little bit up ahead, though. Ethan Bass is still trying to go side by side in the Pro-Am category. I was actually going to go down into, apologies, this is what I was going to look at here, which is this. This is what was happening with Simon Dodd. So Simon Dodd's in P3, heading Dean Timms, having a good old battle as well. Edson Manguera just a little bit behind. There he is trying to go side by side with Ingo Lapsian, but Lapsian manages to take away that position and manages to stay ahead of the BMW this time around. So it is starting to kick off a little bit, but now everyone, you can see that the gaps have already started to open up now. This is where it's going to settle down for a little bit. We're going to probably see this, maybe a little bit of battling here and there. Everyone now will settle into their own little rhythm, and then they're going to start to pick it up after the first and second round of pit stops.
It's been absolute chaos in the Pro-Ams. It's very hard to describe what's been happening in the Pro-Ams, but there's been a couple spins, about three, maybe 4 spins, 2 cars going off at the same time, and you're about to see some of them. Here we go. There's a comment right up there. I believe that is one of the slow-mo cars beside him. I can't remember who that is. And they just go side by side right to there. It just gets tapped from behind, and Oh, and it just goes all wrong. It just goes all wrong there than we probably will see in a moment. I know Chris Wally had a little bit of a slide in the last corner as well. Here is, well, there you can just see right here a couple more slides as well. And just watch how hard it is in this corner. And this is into Sachs here. It just loses it. You've got to take so much speed there, and it is so hard to take the speed. And you can see Will Richardson there just losing it as well. But that is all that's happening at the moment. The pros, we're not going to see a lot in the pros at the moment. Joachim Code is trying to make some moves, though. He is just holding on there. And whoa, there goes Chris Wally straight into Mercedes. I said there'd be an overtake here. There is. And in front of him, Eric Benson and Thomas Reiter just both go wide there. And that will set up Wally to have a nice little go if he wants it going into Mobile 1.
Chris Wally did back out of that. He decided against it this early in the race. But this is the three-way battle here. Daniel Sedgey leading at this moment in the BMW. This little train here. Ryan Hamilton in the Nomad Racing Lamborghini, number 99. And then just behind is Chris Chatterton. We're going to ride on board with Chris in a few moments' time. Just so we can get a nice sort of, there we go, front row tickets here. Chatterton may have a slightly better run on Ryan Hamilton. Not at the moment, though. We know the Ferrari is quick in a straight line. Is it as quick as the Lamborghini? Doesn't seem to be. Looking at the left, it's on the timing tower. It actually seemed that Chatterton was being left behind a little bit by Ryan Hamilton. That would have cost him a significant bit of time, though, about 2.5 tenths. Couldn't carry as much speed going through turn 1. I imagine he's losing a little bit of downforce. Not only has he got Ryan Hamilton ahead, but he's also got Sedgley ahead as well. So he's got double trouble ahead of him. That will be costing him a little bit of downforce, more so than Ryan Hamilton, who has only got one car ahead of him. Speaking of which, here is Ryan Hamilton here. He's got about 0.3 of a second gap, though, to Daniel Sedgey. Whoa! That was a lunge and a half. Never going to make that in a million years. Nope, and there we go. That's a little bit of contact there, but very well judged by Daniel Sedgley. He decides that he's just going to... He does, to be fair, perfect cutback. Has he got ahead? Yes, he has. So Ryan Hamilton gave it a good old go. He's going to try and go... Wow, that was that was a little bit of a last-minute cut, but then Ryan Hamilton goes, he's going to try and push it around the outside. So Madsen's had a moment as well, so he's going to get caught up a little bit. Ryan Hamilton still can't quite make it by, and he's actually lost the place to Chris Chatterton now, so just a little bit too eager. There's no point in doing these sort of moves this early on in the race. It simply isn't worth it, and we can see a perfect example there, because unfortunately Ryan Hamilton has now lost an additional position to Chatterton in that number 16 Ferrari.
Very weird that. I thought for a moment Hamilton just went late on the brakes, not realising what he was doing. Let's just see this quick moment here of Eric Benson. He just goes wide. You can just see Thomas Reiter went wide at the same time. I thought it was just a little bit of just late braking. Was not entirely sure what was going on there. Very weird moment there, but they did keep it safe under control. You can see that he decided he was going to hold on there and keep it pretty clean. Now we've gone from one Ferrari to another Ferrari. Let's go and look at Dean Timms right now. He's got Henning Haig in front of him. But the thing is, Dean Timms has lost a position here. I believe he started P4 and he's gone down a position. Oh, I beg your pardon.
He started.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he made a position. He's now in P5 and he's got Henning Haig right in front of him. And Henning Haig is looking to get a little bit racy with Simon Dodd. So you've got the Eclipse Ferrari and then you've got that slow-mo Audi right there. So you can just see that Simon will want to give him a move there, but he won't be able to. Now look at this from Ethan Bass. I've got to eat my word because I thought this was crazy doing a move at the Sud curve at turn 16. But Ethan Bass pulled it off brilliantly there and managed to hold on to that when they came into turn 1, the Nord curve. You were right. I can't believe it. And look at this right here. Reiter, Hamilton, Benson. Just look at how close they are right now. Everybody is so bunched up. Even with the madness that's been happening in this section of the track for the Pro-Ams, everybody's still together. You just don't know where to look right now. One mistake just bunches up the field.
Yeah, certainly so. Reiter obviously trying to push back through. So Chatterton still ahead of Ryan Hamilton in this little battle here. Reiter has a bit of a look. Oh no, that's gone very wrong. Was there any contact? I don't know. It looked a bit of an unnatural spin there for Thomas Reiter. For Ryan Hamilton. It didn't look like just a normal spin almost. Now, it also looked like there was a little bit of netcode involved in that. That's a bit of a tricky one. We're going to see if we can get a replay on that in a few moments' time. I don't know. Let's have a look at the replay and let's see what happened there. It just seemed, if we can get another possible camera angle. No, Ryan Hamilton lost that before. So it looked like, from a perspective, and the original bar that we saw, let's actually have a look at it once more from the onboard. So here he comes. Yeah, so Ryan Hamilton lost it on board, lost it by that point. Thomas Reiter tried his best to avoid it. Unfortunately, wasn't able to. So a little bit of a shame there, but straight away, Daniel Gilding, Svenja Madsen, they're having a nice battle. Lamborghini versus Lamborghini. And here we have got Slow-Mo Mattheson losing that position. So we see Daniel Gilding. Actually, no, apologies. I think Daniel Gilding was simply holding on to that space. And yes, he was indeed. So Daniel Gilding was just holding on. Good defensive driving there from Madsen in the sister Nomad sim racing car to Ryan Hamilton. So certainly not the best race that the team would have been asking for currently as it stands in the early stages of the race. It's not over yet, however. Nick Madsen has had a moment. He's had a crash, according to... car doesn't look too damaged, so I imagine it was just a spin of some description. Frederic Poches is the person that's within sights now of Nick Madsen, so I'm not entirely sure what has happened there. We'll try and see if we can get a replay on that as well. But there's battling up and down the field, which is exactly what we like to see.
Exactly. I'll tell you what's interesting is we expected the pros to be so close together, but you can just see Alex Bennett is off the slipstream there, and Henning Haig right now thought he was going to make a move in the Mobile 1 there on Simon Dodd, but he decided against it. Will he try it at Sachs? It's such a hard corner to do right here, but he decides you just can't do anything here. Just make sure you get that car rotated, keep the speed up and go down. And you can see Simon Dodd does have Johan Assen just a little bit too far ahead of him. Stauhauer as well still in the lead. Johan Assen's doing a good job to keep up with Stauhauer, but this right now, you see Henning Haig there. Not only has he got Dean Timms behind, he's got Simon Dodd. He's in this Eclipse sandwich. Not exactly where you want to be, and that's no offense to Eclipse, but you want to be running with your teammates instead of running away. It's amazing how much curb you can take on that. You can take on that turn one. And Henning Haig's going to go for it right now, and then he decides against it. Maybe he's starting. I know it's a little bit early. We've only had 10 minutes. I think Henning's starting to ask Simon some questions. There was an incident between them at Monza. Totally accidental. Simon owned up to it. You've got to feel that Henning, when he goes to make a move, it might be in his thoughts here, but I think Simon Dodd just lifted there. Was that a slowdown?
That was Dean Timms. It sounded like Dean Timms was on the limiter, and it sounded like his car was just pinging off the limiter. I don't know. Was there a possible mechanical or a possible equipment issue for Dean Timms? Whoa! Someone's had a moment there. That was Simon Dodd. I reckon he got caught on the grass a little bit and had to take not evasive action, but he had to avoid a spin. So fair play. We're going to see that in a few moments. Here is Nick Madsen. Well, I mean, is it just a bit too much on the brakes? Possibly a little bit too much rear. It looks to be, yeah. Oh, okay. No, that was a hit. And I wonder if that was for Harry Wills. Yes, it was. Harry Wills gave Nick Madsen a bit of a. Well, it wasn't a love tap. It was a love punch, really, wasn't it? I don't think a love tap would constitute for that because that was a spin for Nick Madsen. And that was why he lost that position. Frederic Poches since has actually gone off in his own accord, so that is a position gain for Nick Madsen back. So he is now back into 7th position. I want to have a quick look at what happened to Simon Dodd. I reckon he got on the power too aggressively on corner exit. What happened here? Was it? Over the curb? Oh, well, yeah, over the curb. I think that actually upset the balance of the car a little bit. So that's what happened there.
I'm not sure what's happened there. I know he was on the microphone on the radio saying something was going wrong there. No idea what that was, but anyway, Daniel Gilding and Matheson right here, Svenny Matheson, they're having a nice little battle, aren't they? And he's just got to go. Can he make this move into... Oh, wow, that's a tight corner. And he's made it into Mercedes. I'll tell you what, you said I wondered about turn 16. You wondered about turn 8. We both been proved wrong there. Great move from Daniel Gilding there as he goes to make that move. And he's going to hold on to it. Oh, he broke a little bit harder than Matheson was waiting for. They almost came together. They're going to hold on to this right now. Keep it nice and clean into turn 13, into Saxon. Look at that. I think Svenning, just that little bit of dirty air there. He's unable to hit the apex like he wants. That will allow Daniel Sedgley. And talking about moves, is that a move right now with how Harley Horton and Kaz Huguenot through the tricky sections it is? They get around it, but this full send driver, Harley Horton, he's holding on to this. Kaz Huguenot really wants to start looking at making moves here. He did take P2 when they crossed the line. Horton did get that position back. Does Huguenot go for this? No, he decides the best thing is to lift. I'm not entirely sure how he got that position, but he got that back. Very interesting how aggressive they are, but I mean, I just see a sea of Lamborghinis and then that one Ferrari of Alex Gall in the front, leading them away from VRS Satellite.
I find it a little bit strange, actually, why why we just saw there Hornton and Cassu, they're having a battle here. It just seems that, again, there was a really good chance. Whoa, that was aggressive over the curves from all of them, wasn't it? They all followed one after another. Yeah, you just saw, and I wonder if that was just a little bit too... There was a very, very good chance that Alex Gow would have just pulled off into the distance and broke the toe. That hasn't been the case, and the gap is now back down 6 tenths of a second, so that's good. Meanwhile, down in the Pro-Am field, there's the battle for P4. Whoa, Daniel Guild again tried to make the exact same move. They're going to go side by side this time, though. You got Madsen on the outside, pushes it round. Does he make it stick? Do you know what? He's going to give it a good old go, isn't he? Is he ahead? He is indeed. Wow, what a move there from Svenja Mathiesen. Hats off to you. Manages to keep it all in check. Oh, this is a very exciting battle. I'm glad we're treated to this. Unfortunately, another little incident going through here is actually from Dean Timms. Has he had a bit of a spin? Ah, you're over the curb. Over the curb. That's a hefty hit. Not too bad. Not the biggest crash we've seen, but that may have indicated some steering damage. Perhaps. We simply don't know at the moment. Either way, that has cost Dean Timms a fair amount of positions. He is going again. If we just have a look. Yes, Dean Timms is going again. Has he got some steering wheel damage? We'll have a quick look. No, he hasn't got any steering damage by the looks of it. But all the same, that has cost him several positions.
That's a shame as well. He needed that for the championship. He needs to try and keep up to that. Now, we've been looking at this battle in the Pro-Ams at the middle of the field. But how about this lead battle here between Alvin Kjellberg and Cody Pride? Not exactly a lot going on at the moment. I think Cody's just keeping it safe at the moment. He knows doesn't need to be too aggressive. He's in a Porsche, which I think he is. He's the second fastest Porsche out there. Fredrik Proches is the other Porsche, if you're wondering. But he is just holding his own right now in this little Molly number 15. He doesn't need to be aggressive. He can stay here and still increase his lead in the championship. But you know, he's a racer. He wants to go for the position. But he's not setting himself up for any aggression. He's just keeping it clean. And there you see Alvin. He's also doing the same. That they have pulled out a couple seconds lead, and they say that they both go off there at Mobile 1, turn 11 there. They catch it back up, but yeah, they're 2 seconds ahead of Ethan Bass, with everybody else battling behind. Don't expect to see a lot of these two until the pit stops, I would say, because they're kind of doing the same thing as the top 5 in the pros are doing at the moment. But you can just see how aggressive they are being when it comes to those final corners. And there is an incident limit, by the way. There is an incident limit. It's a drive-through at 25. And then if you get 30 incident points, you're disqualified. So they have to be a little bit liberal. They can't just go absolutely hell-bent for leather through these corners. But remember, Hockenheim does not have... No, it does have, sorry. It does have the 4-tire rule on some of these corners. So you can afford to be a little bit aggressive, which does help the racing.
Yeah, certainly so. You know, it's the tendency now, isn't it? There you go. There's Cody Pride lifting, coasting there. So there's not going to be too many battles for the remainder of this race, or at least for the first, you know, arguably to the first pit stop, probably even later than that, actually, you know, to the second pit stop. Depends simply. What you may find, though, is Cody Pride's, he's going to sit behind Albin Kjellberg, and then Cody Pride's going to get the jump going into the second phase of the pit stops. If it's enough, he's going to pull away and get the toe, and then they're going to start pulling. You know, Cody Pride is probably looking to gap him in the second stint, so we'll have to see. The third stint is only about 15-17 minutes long, depending on when you pit. So it's a bit of a gamble still, but again, we'll have to see. Alex Gow, though, is leading the way here in the pro category. Harley Hornton is 2 tenths behind, and then you got Kasugalor 6 tenths behind, Martin Edgelik 4 tenths behind, and then Alex Bennett 7 tenths behind as well. Do not count any one of these drivers out for a potential race win at all as it stands at the moment. You know, Martin Edgelik could push his way up into P2 and then start battling with Alex Gow. Similarly as well, Alex Bennett, the inseparable Alex 2, Alex Gow, we are actually seeing, obviously, this is one of the biggest gaps we've seen, I think, between the two. You can just see there, Harley Horton. He had massive overspeed. Did he go for the gap? No, he let off. He's saving the fuel here. He's really pushing, though. Do you know what? All the drivers are really pushing. This is a very, very good battle. It's not a battle in terms of on track. It's more so a battle of... What's the best way to put it? It's a battle, I think it's it's the mind games here, isn't it? Because you're pressuring at the moment, Cass Huguenot, Harley Hornton, Nedgelik and Bennett are in a really good position. Arguably, Bennett is in the best position, to be honest, because he's able to just sit there, watch it all happen, at this stage of the race anyway. He's able to sit back, watch it all happen. There is 3 teammates as well, bear in mind. So Huguenot, Nedgelik and Bennett are all in the same team. So this is also helping massively when it comes out to their strategy, because they're all just going to be helping one another and pushing one another along.
Yeah, so I'm just keeping my eyes right now on the Pro-Am because, for a moment, Cody Pry had a run out of turn 10, and I thought he was going to go for it. He decided not to, and there's been so many times where he could go for it. Like I said, these two are taking that pro mentality of those leaders that we've just been watching, and you'll see how close they're going, and these two are basically doing the same thing. Cody's only looking for a move if he knows he can get it because there's mistakes. He's not going for it to try and hold them up, because you look at it, he's 2.5 ahead of Ethan Bath, 2.6, 2.7. At one stage, it was 3 seconds. They know that their pace is good enough at the moment. They're going to hold on to this. That's all they need to do. It's the same with behind. That Madsen Gilding, you're not seeing any different. But have we just seen Harley Horton take the lead into the hairpin? We have indeed. Harley Horton's just decided, I'm going to take the lead at the pros. Now, is this going to be Harley Horton going, I'm going to do a Daytona here? Is he going to just pull away from everybody? That's one to think about right here. We will have a look. And again, you're not going to see any more overtakes, but I am surprised. Here it comes. I am surprised to see an overtake here. Just look at the overspeeds, and he just gets it so cleanly. You would have thought they would have stayed together, but no, Harley just decided to make a move.
Lamborghini's got some good traction, has it, by the looks as it stands, at this stage of the race. Harry Wills has had a moment. What's happened to Harry Wills? He's had a moment. Who with her? That's the all-important question. What has happened here? Oh, no, it's not teammates coming together, is it? I do hope not. There is Haddad. Number 92. It looks to be possibly... No, instead they both get... Oh, I'll tell you what, that was a little bit too close for comfort there for Haddad. I'm sure he'll be certainly not the car he wants to seeing next to him, or just in front of him, his teammate. Yes, we've got some good battling again, once again, up and down the field. Kellberg is defending a little bit from Cody Pride. I wonder if Cody Pride is just sort of like... He's not overly fussed about making a move, I don't think, at this moment. But he might try and, again, just sort of push the car a little bit and push Kellberg to try and, force them into a mistake, I think, to be fair. Yeah. So it's just one of those... I don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky, isn't it? But, realistically... I think Cody Pride is also, he's controlling Kellberg this, but he's controlling the race a little bit. You can see that Cody Pride is sort of pushing when he wants to, and that he's not pushing when he doesn't want to. So it's a very, very good strategy here. And if he can force Kellberg into a mistake, not only has he saved fuel, but he's also going to gain the position.
Yeah, I mean, in a race like this, your two choices to win, your three choices to win are to go aggressive, to save fuel and try and get the jump, or make the other person make mistakes. I love that idea, just trying to make somebody make a mistake, because they're going to start thinking he wants to make the move. And then you're just like, no, I'm not. I'm not making the move. And because they're thinking, I need to make this move, they start to make the mistakes. And they start going and making those mistakes because they feel they have to defend. That is what I think could be happening here. And again, it could be happening elsewhere, because we're looking at this amateur battle right now. Stauhaugen Assen. Then we get Henning Haig right behind. Now, they're keeping it pretty clean as well. But it's practically all slow-mo. It literally is all three slow-mo. They are different teams in slow-mo. And I believe I remember I asked one of them what was the difference. And they said it was one of them super serious, the other's the casual. But that's what they told me once before. And you can just see the 3 different slow-mo liveries out there. You've got the yellow, you've got the white, and then you've got the rustic. And then you see other slow-mos. There's the white and there's the yellow. That's Lapsian and Frederick Droy. And they're having their goes as well. It's all happening in the amateurs. And the amateurs is probably a smaller field this week due to illness and other things happening. Real world takes over at the moment. So it's the smaller amateur field that we're used to. But they're still giving a pretty good showing here. In fact, outside of the pros, they've probably got the closest battles at the moment, I would say.
I think you're right. I think, to be fair, that you know, it's something that is it's a fair point. You know, realistically, you know, these gaps, they won't stay the same. Let's give that, you know, full credit. These gaps are not going to stay the same. We just seen Frederick Devoy lose a little bit of time to Ingo Lapsian. So, you know, they are going to ebb and flow, and they are going to continue to ebb and flow as it stands at the moment. Alex Bennett has actually just got past. I just had a quick look. So Bennett has actually just got past Nedgelik. Let's just have a look here. So going through, I'll tell you what, that was wide. Whoa, that was close. How on earth did Nedgelik save that? Wow, that was fair play. I mean, did he actually save it, or was there a spin? I don't think there was. I think Nedgelik saved it, you know. That was insane. I want to see if we can get a picture, you know, from... Here is from Nedgelik's... No, this isn't... What I don't even know. But there we go. That was a thing. That's when Nedgelik went off initially. So... Oh, that must have been a little bit later on. Okay, yeah, because there is Bennett there. Sorry, we're just piecing it all together ourselves as we're going. So Nedgelik, very good save indeed. Yeah, these gaps are going to stay the same. We're already 25 minutes into this race. I don't know about you, Greg, but this has gone really quickly for me.
It's gone really quickly, and I'll tell you what is interesting, because ever since that Bennett issue there, Nedgelik issue, sorry, the front five are now kind of split up there. Harley Horston's now over a second ahead of Alex Gao. Kaz Huguenot is still with that slipstream. Alex Bennett's nowhere near at the moment. He needs to catch on to that slipstream of Huguenot, and Martin Nedgelik is now in a battle for P5 with Stuart Reynolds. So Pro Battle all of a sudden is just shaping up really well. Harry Wills has just towed. I have no idea what's happened to Harry Wills there, but I think his race might be done as well. I think that just looks like he just pulled it from one side, full stop. But you've got to give the respect to the amateurs. They are battling really well at the moment. They have given some really nice battles. Frederick Droy, Magma Yonland just here. They are teammates per se, but again, different colours there. And what's just happened there? That's one going wide there. Frederick Droy, I think he just went a little bit too deep into the corner.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if that was letting by, perhaps. I don't really know. I don't know if Yonland is higher up. I can't remember if Yonland is higher up the positions than Troy in terms of championship. That could be why. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Let's have a look at what happened to Harry Wills. This is his race-ending crash. Is it just going to be... I wonder if it's going to be over the curb. Is it going to be over the... Whoopsie daisy. Nope, there we go. Manages to... Well avoided, actually, there. So that is one of the only times, in a way, where you don't want to actually let go of the brakes. You know, you haven't got much of a gap, or you've got a fair big gap, and you don't have to push the car as much. Ethan Bass is the first into the pits. Why did Ethan Bass has come into the pits early? Which is strange. Not too sure why that's happened there. Meanwhile, though, Stuart Reynolds and Martin Nedgelik are having a nice little battle. Stuart Reynolds goes up the inside of Nedgelik, and that's position done and dusted. No mess, no fuss, no hassle around there by the looks. Yes, that's interesting. I'm certainly not. I'm not 100% sure as to why that has happened. Either way, we're going to see if Ethan Bass does manage to come out and continue to resume racing. But hopefully, there's been no incidents or issues. It doesn't look like anything has come up, but I'm sure we'll get the full story later on. Battling up ahead, though, I'd say battling up ahead. Do you know what? I'm going to say I think Harley Horton has got the right idea. Have a look at the gap between himself and Alex Gal. It's 1.8 seconds. Harley Horton has decided that he wants to now just push. We've seen him do this this tactic before, and it has worked. I wonder if this is going to be the same thing. It depends how much of a gap he can pull versus what Alex Gow isn't going to be saving any fuel at this point, and Cass Huguenot is trying to sit behind. I think Cass Huguenot is, decided on this strategy at the moment, and I just don't think there's going to be any improvements on this.
No, but you can look at it. Alex Bennett's now in slipstream range of his teammate. He's got Cass Huguenot now in slipstream. This is just what he wants, but it really is just... it always confuses me when you get the likes of Harley Horton that decides, fuel saving's not the way forward. And again, this is more of a track where you're saving fuel. Into turn 2, into turn 6, the hairpin right here, maybe turn 11, but you don't have a lot of opportunities to save fuel because of the straights like other tracks here. So it really is down to what gaps you're prepared to do, where you're prepared to lift and coast and brake. It comes down to that, and I think Harley's just realised that's probably not for him at the moment. And the Full Send Racing driver there is just decided he is going to roll the dice, and it's worked for him before. If he gets out ahead, any time that they say we're going an extra lap or fuel saving, starts to get negated. And it will get to the stage where we're in pit stop window now, where I feel that if the others realize that Harley's got ahead of them, that they're going to have to ditch the fuel saving plan for this second stint. That's going to be interesting to see. All different type of strategies around here. And that's the fun of these 2 pit stop races. You just never know what they're going to do. But that gap right now, 2.2. Harley Horton just throwing down a 137.74, and Alex Gow can only respond with a 138.11. So it is starting to show that he is unable to keep up right now, and Horton has just thrown the gauntlet down.
At the moment he has, isn't he? Yes, 100%. Yeah, if Harley Horton's going to extend this lead at the rate he's going, that's going to be a fairly big gap by the end of this race. Dean Timms has passed Edson Manguera. Let's have a look at this overtake here. This is down to the AM categories. So Manguera goes a little bit wide. Whoa, that was a bit of a squeeze. Still a bit of a squeeze there by Dean Timms, but just about manages to keep it all in check. I think it may have actually been... Did Manguera try... Ah, there we go. So Manguera actually tried to make the lunge. Last of the late breakers. Unfortunately, Manguera was certainly last of the late breakers. Just braked a little bit too late. So Dean Timms just squaring that corner off. Cutting it back. There's that minor bit of contact. It was nothing major. Nothing to really... to go off of there. And there we go. We're all sort of moving forward. The first round of pit stops are in. Look at that. You got Madsen, Reiter, Richardson, Gilding, Hamilton, and Wally all currently in the pit lane for their first pit stop. Seems to be a little... Actually, no, it's not early. It seems to be about bang on time. I think we're so used now to people simply just saving fuel that when if we get someone that pits in, to be fair, this is about bang on where you should be, realistically, if you're not saving or you're not able to save as much fuel. So, I think this is the... We're not seeing too dissimilar times here. We're not seeing anything that's out of the ordinary.
And also, even Bass taking that early lap, and he did have one issue. He got put in between the lead amateurs and had to go behind them a little bit. But you can see that issue there, it hasn't worked for him. Tony Mattis is now behind him in slipstream. So Ethan Bass there, that is one that you haven't seen. All the pros have now just come into the pits. But I'm also just curious because Kjellberg and Pride, the only 2 that have not pitted, and there they go. In they go. Now, does Cody Pride get a jump here? I'm going to be watching this, and oh my word, they almost come together with Frederick Podchest right in front of them, and I don't think they were ready for that. Almost a little bit of chaos there in the pit lane. It would be my first time to that, and that would have absolutely made me worry. But there is Svenny Mattisson. He is battling Ethan Bass. Like I said, that early pit stop did not work for Ethan. That was a questionable one that we were talking about. And now the pros have all come out. And Harley Horton only loses a second in that pit stop. Alex Gow comes out, but that gap has now gone down to 1.6 seconds in the pros.
It's certainly come down, isn't it? So yeah, that's where Alex Gow will be saving the fuel. I mean, at the rate that he's going, it's not going to be enough. Harley Horton is going to be able to push forward, and he's going to be able to move ahead and continue to move ahead. Having a look here, Ethan Bass is now up into fourth place all of a sudden. Daniel Sedgley is currently leading the way, one of the only person now in Pro-Ams who has not pitted. Cody Pride, has he got the jump? No, he has not got the jump on Kjellberg at the moment. So their pit times were identical. So, for example, Kjellberg's pit stop was a tenth slower than Cody Pride. I wonder if this is going to be... Well, I tell you why. It's not going to make a difference this session and this particular stint, because what you're going to have is people are going to have to bring their tanks anyway. The second stint is where it's going to make a difference. If you keep an eye on the second stint, that's where it is certainly going to be the difference between if you can save an additional amount of fuel, if you can go that extra lap in the second half, or if you can't. So do keep an eye out for it all coming down now. You know, the calm before the storm, this is where it's at now.
Yeah, just sitting down. I know Thomas Reiter and Ryan Hamilton's having a little bit of a scrap, and there they are right on the screen. And you can see that Reiter has tried to go for that. That damage isn't holding him up as much as I thought. Just come out the pits, decided not to get any of that damage done. It's just a little bit of damage on that rear. He's just decided against it. He is just pushing. These two have been having these battles for quite a while now after what happened earlier in the race. And you can see the Nomad driver just having a little bit of a struggle, trying to fight here. Is in near the back of the field for the Pro-Ams, but it is every position counts. Does Reiter look to go for a move here at Sachs? Oh, that twitch! Look at the twitch from the BMW. That's one of the problems with the BMW around here. You just have that little bite. You just got to be careful not to be too aggressive. So you have to worry and be careful in what you do there. But he's able to just keep it together. It just makes me wonder, can he hold on there? He's going to look for a move here. Do you know what? If he's got the run, I think he's in this mood that he will look to go for a move into turn one. I don't think he's close enough. The side's against it. And I think he'll just have to reset and rewind there. You're not missing anything else at the moment. Look at all those gaps. Remember, on the timing tower, if it's yellow, well, hang on 1 second. Cody Pride just had taken the lead. If it's yellow, it's less than a second. If it's orange, it's less than half a second. And Cody Pride all of a sudden has just gone, I will take that lead. And that looked like a move at the hairpin.
Let's have a look at that move indeed. We're going to get a replay for you in a few moments. Chris Wally, though, is going to have a look up the inside, possibly, of Eric Benson. And that is a move for the moment going into turn 4. However, turn 6. Now, Benson is going to try and come back. Can he? If he can hold it around the outside of turn 5, he can get the jump down into turn 6. Can he do it? No, he can't. So Chris Wally, do you know what? He's giving it a good old crack, isn't he? No, he can't. So he unable to do that. Ryan Hamilton and Thomas Reiter still having a bit of a whoa, bit of contact. Oh no! Oh dear, that's Ryan Hamilton. That was
contact.
That was a bit of contact. That couldn't have been a commentator's curse. I think Ryan Hamilton just got a little bit too... I don't know, that was tricky. I don't think there was... there, that should have never happened. I know it's tricky because Ryan Hamilton was a bit out of sorts, but what should have happened there is Ryan Hamilton simply... There was no way that Reiter was going to come out, or Reiter shouldn't have come out to the outside and cut Ryan Hamilton's line off, and he wouldn't have done. I don't think the trajectory didn't look like that was going to happen. So Ryan Hamilton now comes into the pits. Whether he's trying to serve some damage or something, I'm not 100% sure. But Reiter now goes past. So yeah, that was a little bit of a shame there. Let's have a look at the... Oh, Benson's had a bit of a moment as well. What has happened here? This is Benson code. I'm guessing it's going to be over the curb, bit too aggressive on the throttle. Let us have a look. That would be... Oh, no, bit of grass on entry. That's why that happened there. And, yep, luckily that iRacing does not model flat spots. Otherwise, that Benson would be having a very uncomfortable remainder of this 40-minute race. Up at the front, though, Harley Hornton has extended his gap once again. The gap is now 2.1 seconds. So Gal is just plodding away and just... trying along at his own pace. Cass Huguenot is 8/10 behind, so he's in the tow, but not all that much. Let's have a look at Cody Pride's overtake here. Now going through. So this is where it's set up. So pulls out just at the right time. Gets on the brakes, but not too late compared to Albin Kellberg. He gets on the brakes enough that he isn't ahead going into the actual corner itself, into corner entry, but he's ahead enough, or he's alongside, to the point where Kellberg can't turn in. So he's not diving into the brakes simply too late and then running wide that we saw unfortunately that Edson Manguera did a few laps ago. But he's just put the car in the correct position. At that point, Kellberg has to be either try and go very, very aggressive around the outside or simply just have to back the position out. It's tricky to go around the outside at turn 4. You have to be committed and you have to be ahead around the outside. So that was why Kellberg just sort of accepted it, let the position go, and then move on. This is an opportunity, though, for Kellberg now to save that fuel, if he can catch up. Although, at the moment, Cody Pride has decided that he's going to check out at this point. He's already got a second gap.
Doing fantastic at the moment, Cody. He's really started to just work out here. And quickly, let's go back to the amateurs, because look at those gaps right now. Werner S., Magnus Jongland, Frederick Droy, Simon Dodd, all having a bit of fun right now. They're all together here. You've got a couple slow-mos, you've got a Panda, you've got an Eclipse. Simon Dodd really making his way back up the field, doing really well in this recovery drive. Because that's what it is, really, after what happened there earlier in the race. He has had to make a recovery. Technically, he's only lost one place overall in the race, but you can see he's currently in P8, and he started P6 overall in the amateurs. So he has got a little bit of time of places to make up here. And, of course, if he wants any hope at the championship, really need to start getting some position. So may look for him to take a bit of a fuel strategy here, save a little bit of fuel, not put the grass there on the exit of 4, and just hopefully he can do something. You've got Werner S at the front of this queue, Magnus Jongland as well. There's a little bit of a gap, but they're still in slipstream with Frederick Roy right in front of him and then himself. The Ferrari Hello, this is a late braking move. That's a bit of a lunge, and it does not pay off for him and almost comes together. I think he's getting a little bit, I wouldn't say desperate, but he's starting to see the writing on the wall, and he needs to start looking, I think. That's what it looks to me. He just has to hold on. Hopefully doesn't overdo it, and you can just see Werner S, he's in a battle himself. Magnus Jongland is trying to go. Now, Nick Madsen's in the pits. Now, that definitely is not on pace there. No idea what's happened to Madsen. We'll have to look in a moment. Werner S, though, he is defending Magnus Jongland. And this BMW, it does make me worried because it's not the heaviest of the cars, but because of the way the weight transfer is, having the weight at the front because that's where the engine is, compared to all these other cars with like the middle of the middle of the body is the engine for the Lamborghinis, the Porsche of Cody is at the front, at the back. They've got a lot more balance and able to turn, and this BMW it does struggle.
Yeah, it does a little bit. It just hasn't got the rotation. It hasn't got the rotation of some of the other cars, front engine. It just takes a little bit more time. It's certainly safer. This is the general consensus with front engine cars compared to mid engine and rear engine, is they tend to be a little bit safer. Certainly not slower. If your driving style suits a front engine car more, then absolutely. What you tend to find is if your driving style is more situated towards a heavy, driving into the corner and leaning into that ABS, leaning into the braking and trail braking quite a lot, front engines tends to be the better option. It just works for you a little bit more. If you're more with a bit of a rearward bias car and you like the car to rotate, then the rear wheel drives, the rear engine, the mid engines tends to work. Magnus Jongland tried to have a bit of a look, but the drive of the BMW seems to be better. The Lamborghini's got some good drive, but the BMW had a very, very good drive coming out of turn 4. So that was why we saw that Werner S pulled about 0.3 of a second off of Magnus Jongland, considering that Werner S was on the outside. Very, very impressive there for that to have happened. This is one of the closer battles that we've got currently. Nick Madsen, again, not 100% sure what the crack was there. With his pit stop, I don't know. I wonder actually. I think I tell you what, it's going to be close. But I wonder if we've seen Nick Madsen try and come in to the pits early and try and do an alternate strategy. Perhaps that could very well be why. He might not get to the end of the race. We might need to see another pit stop from him. So yeah, I don't really know what that was all about. But if he's managed to work it so he's going to get to the end of the race, I mean it's an alternate strategy. It's well worth trying. I think at this point, if you're happy to give it a go and take the gamble.
Yeah, I just want to point out just quickly one thing because we missed it last week. But just as we went away from those amateurs, yes, that was an Eclipse Ferrari crashing out of turn 10, and unfortunately that was Simon Dodd, and he does have a lot of damage. I just wanted to point that out because I know we missed it last week when we were at Monza, but this week I did catch it. I'm sorry, Simon. Did catch it there, so no idea what's happened there. Now, Cody Pride's gone off. Cody Pride has a lot of damage on the back of the car. What has happened to Cody Pride? Has there been a coming together there between him and Albin Kelbo? Let's just have a look quickly. I'm not sure. This is the Elkin code. No, hang on one second. We'll get the replay up there. Here's Cody Pride. Now, what happens here? Did he lose it? He's on the grass. He's on the grass. Did he put the grass here? Everything looks okay. Oh, he loses the car. And
oh, no!
No!
Oh. Unsafe rejoin. 100% unsafe rejoin, unfortunately.
Oh, that's such a shame. And that's Cody Pride. He's gone all the way down now. I think he's in 6th. Yep, he's in 6th. Yeah, he is battling Chatterton. But the only thing busted is the back of the car. It shouldn't affect the aerodynamic. He should be able to make a move here, but not only is that going to hinder him for the race, you've got to feel that there could be some protests. And one thing that we never stress about this is they get bonus points at the end of the season for how clean they are. And the more protests that get handed to you, you lose points in this bonus category. He's now battling Chris Chatterton here. They're side by side coming through turn 7 into Mercedes 8. And Cody will hold on to this. He will hold there. You've got Daniel Sedgley right behind them. Cody probably get back up to P5. It's going to be tough though with that damage. I don't see any wing damage. I don't see no aerodynamic. It's just at the back of the car. But right now when he's got that Ferrari, and Chris Chatterton's pretty quick in that Ferrari, he's going to be struggling.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? It's not what you like to see. But again, I mean, to be honest, again, it's easy done. It is easily done. What happens is, you have that spin and and you're trying to scrabble around, trying to get back up and trying to, push forward a little bit and to lose as minimal amount of time as possible. You don't want to get flustered, obviously, but I think maybe Cody Pride just tried to rejoin as quickly as he could, without obviously taking into consideration if anything was coming, or maybe just didn't quite judge, in the best of light how fast that Lamborghini was coming up. Again, I certainly feel for Cody Pride. I have been in that position a few times as well, and it's not ideal. Nick Madsen's had a bit of an off as well, so his race is going from bad to worse. Where is this? Oh dear, that's a big off actually. That's such a tricky thing to try and come back from, and almost impossible. This is going to be an interesting rejoin. Manages to, that's certainly a bit of, okay, that was an interesting one, wasn't it? Oof. Jeez. Sorry, that's made that's sort of completely lost my train of thought then. I really thought that was going to be an incident. That was it's a tricky thing for that to come back from that, because you've got the track going left. As the track goes left, you've got two wheels on the outside. Your two outside wheels are on the grass. You have no grip on the outside. At that point, it's just a one-way ticket. I don't think there was no way that Madsen was going to save that. If anything, what he could have done is actually, in a way, almost committed to steering out of the corner and trying to get the car in a more composed state early on. That was really the only thing I think at that point that Madsen could have done.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing he could have done, I would have just taken the pit lane, personally. I would have taken the pit lane. Oh, Magma Youngland just getting that overtake there. And there's a little bit of a tap between himself and Werner S as well, but nothing too serious. I think it was just the way the turning goes. Make a joke about the BMW being a big point, just being hard to turn, like one of those old classic Jags that you would drive if you're in the UK, but that's not what we're seeing there. Werner S does lose the position to Magma Youngland, and they are now starting to go. This is the mid of the pack for the amateurs. Magma Youngland just moving up into P5. Ingo Lapsian's quite a bit away. Well, I say that he's a second away, and should be able to catch up to him, but it is all pretty daunting. Now, one thing that is also interesting is you start to see some red there in the timing tower. That's the car. That's the car that's coming to lap him. Harley Horton, leader, is 6 seconds behind Magma Youngland. So the pros are now starting to get to the back of the amateurs. Now that's going to be a little bit of a chaos to try and get around them, and they will have to pit. Now I'm thinking, as 30 minutes just starts now, technically pit window is open. Don't expect any pits for another 10 minutes, but the window is open if anybody wants to make a move here. Usually if I'm doing racing and I've got lap cars up ahead of me, I usually try and take the pit stop early to prevent that. Whether or not they do that this time is another question. But they have to be aware of it. They'll start to see it in their relatives. Michael Youngland will definitely see it in his relative, that he's got a pro 6 seconds behind him. Just got to keep it clean. And especially on a track like this, it could make a difference, especially after what we saw at Monza.
Yeah, it might do. Absolutely. We simply don't know at this point. We've got, again, only half hour left of this race. I can't get how quickly this race is going there, Craig. We've certainly seen more. We certainly saw more action. I think Monza is great because it gives a really, really nice opportunity for people to try different strategies and really sort of push on that fuel save. Here, it's not as drastic. It certainly is something to be considerate of, but it's not 100%. You don't have to be as aware of it as somewhere like Monza. So we've seen a little bit more battling here and there. I think whether that's made it go a little bit quicker, possibly have. There's one battle that's happening. Martin Nedelik and then Stuart Reynolds are still going to go. They've been battling for quite a while now, and it is going to be, is Nedelik going to get by? To be honest, I really don't think that there's much in it between the two at the moment. They're still going to go side by side. I think Nedelik has got the upper hand, and yes, he has, but Reynolds tries to go around the outside. It's going to be a very, very tricky one here. No, darts to the inside. Is there going to be a move? No, Nedelik puts the car in the perfect position. He is now sitting there. That's Hockenheim it's a wide track and it's a narrow track. Going into sort of turn 4, turn 5, very, very wide. Now down into the second half, it seems to be, it's a lot narrower. It's a lot trickier to make these moves here. It just feels a bit more enclosed, feels a bit tighter, and you have to be very, very committed and very, very sure that the position you are going to go for, there is going to be enough room. Not just at the start of the corner, but through the mid and then through the exit as well. Because it can concertina up and it can squeeze you a lot more than you initially expect. I've certainly been caught out by that myself as well. A lot of learning curves. Whatever happens generally, I'm not saying that I'm certainly not the best sim racer in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but I've done a lot of enough hours to know that pretty much any situation I've been in that myself, whether that is for the good or for the or for worse. And it's, yeah, Hockenheim is a very narrow track in certain areas. You've got to be so careful when you make an overtake. So I think, to be honest, Stuart Reynolds, at another track, we may have seen Reynolds try to go up the inside there. He may have done it, but backed out of it, I think, which was the wise decision.
Yeah. And we have actually seen it, because you may see the gaps in the pros have gone really different right here, because that is because there was an incident a couple of laps ago with Alex Bennett and Kaz Huguenot. Kaz Huguenot made a spin around turn 12, and that's one of the narrow part of the track. It's the old part of the track. And just with that one moment, it forced Alex Bennett to go off track to avoid him. And their teammates, he had to do anything he could to avoid him. And that is why you're seeing Kaz Huguenot now in P6, Alex Bennett losing the toe. So right now, this is pure racing. Forget the fuel saving. I think everybody now is just racing. That's what you're seeing right now with Reynolds and Nedlet. You're seeing these guys just go for these positions now. There is no need to start fuel saving, because all of a sudden, with all these gaps in the pros, this is the widest we've seen the pro field since, I want to say, Daytona. And a lot of that is because of Harley Horton. But like I said, like Dan was saying, those little mistakes on these tight sections, you just get caught out there. And you've seen so many people clip the grass, lose control, having to go off. It is happening a lot right now. You wouldn't think it with a track temp of 24 Celsius that you would see cars losing it. But welcome to a track which is covered by nothing but grass. And this is what's happening. And again, Reynolds wants to make a move. He can't. Nedvik will go to the inside. He will go for the defense. If Reynolds wants it, he has to go around the outside. But it's late braking from Nedvik. It will be a slingshot, but not a very fast slingshot from Reynolds. Can he get anything going here? He's not going to be able to do it once again. First of the pitters coming. Joachim Code is the first pitter to come in, but no one in the pros has come in yet. Does Reynolds go for this? He cannot. But you know what? With that early braking from Nedvik, it almost happened, and Nedvik's made a mistake here, and they're going to go side by side through turn 10. Can Reynolds hold on to this? Still side by side through turn 10. Into turn 11 they'll go. Can Reynolds hold this? He'll go outside, followed by inside. He's had to put the brakes on. Good little battling by these two guys. Is there a move here into slacks? No. Fantastic driving.
Really, really good driving indeed. Absolutely. You know, both these drivers are really, really fair in what they're racing at the moment. You know, they're giving each other enough space, but they're giving each other no more and no less. Werner S has had a moment in the Panda 1 white, number 76. Is it on the grass? Yep, there's grass. There is a little bit of grass. Just goes through a nearly enough a 360, almost a 180 there. And then manages to go through. So, yeah, a little bit of a shame for Werner S. He was having a good little race. Again, luckily, iRacing doesn't give you, it doesn't model the flat spotting of tyres. If it did, then, that would be a very, very uncomfortable remainder of this race. 25 minutes are remaining in this race, speaking of, and Magnar Jonland trying to go up the inside of Ingo Lapsin. This is a battle for P4. You can see that in the bottom right corner of your screen. Number 87 for the slow-mo up-no ultra car. Is there going to be a move? No. Lapsian seems to have the legs at the moment. And I wonder if that's going to be for... whether that's going to continue. The Porsche, we know, has always got good traction here. Stuart Reynolds and Martin Nejic are going to go once again side by side. I think, you know what, Stuart Reynolds has actually made the pass. He has indeed. That was going into turn 4 and down to a hairpin. We've got to have a look at that. That must have been a cracking move. Let us see what happened. Oh, there you go. So Nejic just went a little bit wide. And then Stuart Reynolds, I mean, at that point, he had the move. That was it, done and dusted. Nedlik did the wise thing there again and sort of backed out, because Stuart Reynolds, you could see straight away coming over, holding the defensive line. You're more than entitled to do so. You don't have to go over to your racing line. You can stick whatever line you want, as long as you're not compromising and pushing the other driver off the circuit. Someone's gone off there. Who was that? I think that was Johan Assen.
It was, yeah, Johan Assen. I think he just had a little bit of an off there and having to just give back. He does have damage to the wing of the car. Don't tell me he got caught up there in an incident there. It probably has. He's been hit for a while. Do you know what? I think he's lost it himself. He did. And that's heavy damage there for him, losing it himself. We'll get a replay of that shortly. But unfortunately, as Johan Assen there, he was in a battle for the lead of the amateurs. Not happening for him. And just watch this. Just watch him just overcut it and loses the car straight in. And you wouldn't think that that second hit would cause wing damage. Unfortunately for Johan Assen, that has put a lot of damage on that wing. You can see where he is now.
That's a bit of a tricky one, that. I wonder if I'm almost not sure. Like, I don't think there was, if anything, like it just looked like the car just lost. I don't know whether it bottomed out actually, whether it was just a bit too aggressive over the curbs, or again the tyres. Obviously, at this point the tyres are, they've certainly been scrubbed in. They've gone through, 2 heat cycles now. So I wonder if this is a little bit of, maybe just the tyres just let go. It seemed to happen really quickly almost. It wasn't a progressive slide. It was a snap. It wasn't anything that was a progressive. There was no opportunity to catch. Wow. Blimey. Whoa, Nedgelik is pushing this car hard, isn't he? Unfortunately, that has cost him about a tenth and a half. And more importantly, that's put him out of the second window. So Stuart Reynolds is sort of commanded that P4 as it stands. He's got 4.2 seconds up to Alex Bennett. Speaking of which, have a look at that. Alex Bennett and Alex Gow, look where they are.
Get a room, you two. Get a room. I know they're not close together at the moment. The gap is 7 seconds. But when you look at that timing tower, you see the two Alexes together, and you just think to yourself, come on, boys. You've got to just keep this. You've got to keep this right. But remember, Alex Gow he's not leading. He's ahead. Now, when it comes to the point standing, that makes a difference because Bennett is leading at the moment by 15 points. So if Alex Gow can get this, remember, he cut it down by 5 points last week. He'll cut it down by 5 points this week if it remains the same. Gap is 7 seconds. I can probably see that happening. We're still waiting for these pit stops, by the way. With 21 minutes remaining, pit window is fully open right now. Anyone can take the risk right now, but like I said, look at these gaps. You can see the only battle right now in yellow, which is less than a second, is Chris Charlton and Daniel Sedgley, and Sauerhaug and Haig. They're the only two battles, and of course one of them is a battle for the lead of the class, which is the amateurs. So we'll keep our eyes on that. We'll keep our eyes elsewhere, but you can just see Reynolds really trying to make this going, and now into this amateur battle. Look at them. They're not getting held up by Joachim Code, but Joachim Code is giving a nice little slipstream here. Just what you want to see. If you're that driver and you're thinking to yourself, I need to get ahead here. Oh, I can't. There's not a lap car. There's a slower class car right in front giving the tow. I can't pull out. I'm just going to have to use a double tow. In some respects, it's better, but if you're trying to fight for that position, you're not going to get it.
It's an opportunity to save fuel, isn't it? Look at that. You just saw there there's so slight bit of movement though from Jodlin. Just trying to put his car, in a position where Lapsin is going to see. There's movement in the mirror. Even some of that can actually, it's surprising how that can be, if you've got, obviously, your in-car viewers or the virtual mirror, whatever you may use. It's amazing, just that little bit of a movement that you can see in the car. It draws your attention away for a few moments of a second, and those few moments of a second can, certainly make all the difference. At the moment, I wonder if, Lapsin, he's about half a second ahead now, clear of half a second behind of Joachim Code. So at the moment, nothing really, as you say, not being held up. Maybe losing a little bit of downforce, but I don't think it's major. Podshares, Bass, Gilding, the first people to jump the gun and jump into the pit lane for their second pit stop. I wonder if this is going to allow Bass to push forward a little bit and to try and get something. Again, it depends how much fuel these drivers have been saving. But Jonlan has dropped off a little bit. I think, again, it's an opportunity to save some fuel. I think that's what we need to be. That's what needs to happen at the moment. Sedgley has also got a good opportunity to save fuel. Last person to pit the first lap. Okay, bear in mind. So I think, depending, in the first round of pit stops, I have a feeling, depending on how much fuel Chatterton has saved, there may be a jump in the pit lane for Sedgley. Depends when he comes in. It depends how his last lap is compared to Chatterton, Cody Pride, and the likes around him. There's an opportunity here. It's a pretty big gap at the moment. It's around about 3.5 seconds. There is not going to be that much fuel saved, admittedly, but there is a possibility here that Sedgley may have a podium on his hands.
It could happen. I'm also thinking about Ethan Bass because remember, he came in, 2 laps early? We're just going to see this move right here. This is Daniel Gilding going for the move. Does he get this? He gets it so comfortable before the hairpin, he gets into the racing line on Thomas Reiter. So that's happening. I was just looking, Ethan Bass, remember, he pitted 2 laps early to everybody else, and he's pitted at the same time as others. Has he managed to save a lap? Possibly, but he also means that what fuel does he have? Be interesting to see what Ethan does in that Ford. More drivers now coming to the pits. Will Richardson coming to the pits. I think he's the only one at the moment. No doubt Gilding and Reiter, they will hold on for a little bit as Reiter's just trying to find it. I swear we've been looking at a battle between a Nomad and a Panda all race because it's just been going on. And there you go. Thomas Reiter decides, I'm going to take it early. I'm going to see what I can do. He's not battling Gilding for position because Gilding is on a different strategy and has already pitted. But just using that driver as a little bit of slipstream, that can just help you just a little bit. Maybe get you that extra mile, that extra litre that you need to get that extra lap. So we'll wait to see what that does for Reiter. And we'll wait to see because, surprisingly, nobody else is coming in. Which means that the pros, like Stuart Reynolds and the pro-ams of Svenny Matters, they saved a lap.
They certainly did. Stuart Reynolds just come into the pits. There we go. You can just see in the left-hand corner of your screen. So Reynolds comes in. Neslet continues, as you say. Horse and Gal, Bennett, everyone is continuing for the moment. It's very hard. Hockenheim seems to be one of those tracks where you're never going to be 100% sure how much fuel you're able to save. A lot of people save fuel in different ways, and a lot of people can save a lot more fuel than others, again, in certain circumstances, depending on where you are out on circuit. Are you lifting coasting? Are you clutching in as well to especially help you? Have you got someone directly behind you? Or have you got someone directly in front of you? Even to the point, this is how close it is getting. This is how close it is in terms of fuel saving to some of these drivers here. You know, even to the point where you're turning around and you're saying to yourself, am I a second behind the person in front to save a bit of fuel, or am I half a second in front? That makes a difference as well. You know, it's just there's so many different factors here that we're talking about, especially with how close it gets towards the end of these races. You know, 15 minutes left to go here. It becomes, you know, can you save half a second in the pit stop? Can you save a few tenths in the pit stop? It's almost like Formula 1 to a certain degree.
Well, Stuart Reynolds hasn't saved any time. In fact, he's lost about 10 seconds. Tyres were ticked for Stuart Reynolds, and he went up on the jacks.
Oh, no.
And that's a P5 that he probably just lost there. I mean, it's only going to turn into a P6 maybe, depending on where Nick Madsen is. But for Stuart Reynolds, that was a top 5 that's gone. And that's a shame. That would probably, unless Kaz Huguenot ticks the tyres as well, that's probably a P5 for Kaz Huguenot. But Daniel Sedgley, Chris Chatterton continue to battle. Now, remember, Daniel Sedgley was the last one to pit. As I'm saying that, all the pros come into the pits. We're not going to see anybody jump the gun in the pros, surely. What can Alex Bennett do, though, is the question there. Harley Horton, Alex Gow in front of him. Now, it's clear that Horton's going to get ahead first, and as I say that, there goes Harley Horton. Alex Gow will come out second. Alex Bennett will be third. That's the prediction. Did it all go to plan? Well, there's Alex Gow, and that's going to be fantastic for him. And I believe the only car out behind him is a lap car. Yeah, Magma Yolan. So, yeah, Alex Gow at the moment, he can close the gap by 5 points at the moment if it stays like this. But for Harley Horton, I'm knocking on wood, he looks in a possession to win this race now. That gap is 7.5 seconds. What a drive.
Very, very good drive indeed. It worked for him once, it's worked for him again. As it stands, now less than 15 minutes remain of round number 7 here at Hockenheim. The pro-ams are now coming in the pits as well. Cody Pride, Chris Chatterton are both in the pit lane now. Who is going to get the jump? Is Cody Pride going to get the jump? Do you know what? I think he has. Yes, Cody Pride, Chris Chatterton, there he is, comes out. So Cody Pride has made that jump. So he is up in a position. Unfortunately, obviously with the incident that he had a little bit earlier on, Ethan Bass is back up into P4. Matheson is third, Kelberg second. Daniel Sedgley is still out. And we saw this as well. He has he's still one pit stop left to go. So, you know, and he's only 19 seconds ahead of Kelberg. So, you know, certainly we are going to see probably still down back into P5, P6. But ultimately, though, you know, again, it's an impressive drive for Sedgley. Sedgley always manages to just extend that fuel a little bit more than everyone else. I wonder if there's a bit of a balance between the both. Maybe Daniel Sedgley is actually saving a bit too much fuel and actually leaving some time on the table that he's not going to be able to claw back with that fuel save. So I feel that a bit of an adjustment may be needed there in terms of the driving style. But I mean, it's minimal here. We're talking, you know, at this moment in time. But still, what very, very impressive there from Daniel Sedgley.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen the same thing. We talk about this, you know, save too much for time. It's actually a common trope at the moment in endurance, the 2 hour 40-minute races that you start to see on iRacing now, where if you're in LMP2, you could go 4 stops, and 3 stops instead of 4. If you go 4 stops, it's a splash and dash. But if you can go +1 every lap, every stint, you can probably do it. But in some cases, you've got to go +2. And you get these instances where teams are winning because they're forced to literally go 4 seconds slower on the last stint just to save enough fuel that they don't have to. And you get to that point and you say, well done. Has it won you anything? Because you're going too slow. So that risk reward, I would say, when it comes to fuel saving, yes, save +1. If you can save +2, well done. But anything more, then it really is just a case of, I just don't think it's right. And Daniel Sedgley, I'm just looking at it, will be coming in this time. And one thing I have picked up on is I'm looking at my timing calculator, 45.08, which means we're looking at 46 laps just. Now, Harley Horsen could control the pace here. It's gone to 45.07. If he had a couple more slower laps, he could make it 45 laps. Maybe for the benefit of him and the others, 46, and then you've got people really starting to look at fuel. So all of a sudden, the fuel is a factor when you come to this race. So really, Daniel Sedgley, who does come in, he's in a good position. For the others that came in earlier, like Ethan Bass, going to be tough. He may be short on fuel.
Possibly. I don't know. It depends. But again, we're not really going to know, until the checkered flag drops or the checkered flag doesn't drop. Where does Daniel Sedgley come out? Daniel Sedgley is still in the pits. Now he leaves. Do you know what? This might be a P3 for Daniel Sedgley. Where is Ethan Bass? There is Ethan Bass. Where is Sedgley? Oh, it's going to be close. No, it's not going to be close. Oh, Daniel Sedgley will be kicking himself because that is... there's nothing he can do at that point. He's dropped... the gap is about 2.5. It will be about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. So, unfortunately, there's nothing really that Sedgley could have done. But for a brief moment, I almost thought that Sedgley was going to have a podium. It's close, though. Ethan Bass and Daniel Gilding, these guys are battling. I wonder if they're going to start battling heavy. No, this is the final podium position. Again, Ethan Bass has done very, very well to bring the car through, maintained his pace well, controlled his own race. As we got Daniel Gilding up the inside. Is it going to be Daniel Gilding? No, Ethan Bass tries to hold around the outside. Bit of understeer build-up. You can just see in the mid-corner from Ethan Bass by the looks of it. But he's got a good bit of traction on the exit, though. So Daniel Gilding comes through. He is going to be on the inside. Is he going to back out? No, because Ethan Bass has to concede a bit of room and give it to him. We see Daniel Gilding on the outside. Going to try and go around the outside. Ethan Bass going to run in wide. He tries to, but Daniel Gilding is just there. He can't do anything about it. So Daniel Gilding, they're still side by side, just about giving each other enough room, and Ethan Bass manages to still stay ahead. An overtake that took 3 or 4 corners, and it didn't actually pay off. Do you know what has paid off, though? Look at the gap between Cody Pride. This is going to become a 3-way battle, possibly even a 4-way battle, sooner rather than later, depending on how much Ethan Bass and Daniel Gilding fight. I still wouldn't say that Daniel Sedgley is not without a position. This is on board with Daniel Sedgley now. Look at this gap here. He can see Cody Pride ahead. Cody Pride can obviously, taste a podium. And I really think this is an opportunity for... it really depends on how much battling happens between Bath and Gilding.
We just got to point out here for 1 second. That was Ethan Bass defending by going around the outside at turn 10. That was Stuart Reynolds trying to get the move by overtaking around the outside at turn 8. That was fantastic by those guys going side by side. But, as you were saying, it has put Cody Pride back in this contention. The man that we all thought lost the chance at the lead. And again, more late braking from Daniel Gilding. Has he done it again? No!
Oh!
No, and he's gone into it! Oh, I have a word for this. It's a Rosberg. He's done a Rosberg. If you remember Red Bull Ring, you'll know exactly what I mean. Same situation again, though, for Bass and Gilding. And Bass is going to go around the outside at 7. Can he hold on to it for 8? He does. Now, they switch over. And now you've got Daniel Gilding on the outside for 9 and 10. Can he make this work? No, he can't. Hold on 1 second. Cody Pride's here. Does he look at free wide? He does not. He sees the situation into turn 11, and they're still side by side. These two have been side by side for 2 laps now. And now they're going to go side by side into turn 12. Can he finally do this? More contact! More contact! And that puts Ethan Bass down a couple positions. And Daniel Gilding, finally gets it. But all of a sudden, that Porsche, he's come out of nowhere. And I don't think this is the person Daniel wants to be in front of.
No, certainly not. Do you know what? I would try and play the. I know it's difficult, but I would play the long game here. I wouldn't battle with Ethan Bass at the moment. At least give it another couple of laps just to see what goes on, especially up ahead between Daniel Gilding and Cody Pride. Because if those two can have a good little battle, they're going to hold each other up, and that's just going to concertina everyone up. Cody Pride's got a good run. He's got a very good drive out of turn 3. You can see already he's going to be up from poised for a position. The Porsche's good on the brakes here. Lamborghini is quite slow. Daniel Gilding isn't able to maximise his opportunity coming on to the exit. This is actually going to pull Ethan Bass along. It's also going to pull Daniel Sedgley along. Who is going to come out on top? You can see straight away that Gilding taking the defensive line. Cody Pride darts to the inside, then darts back to the outside. Oh, Ethan Bass decides to send it around the outside. That's too much. Oh, there's a spin. It's all gone wrong. Did Cody Pride force Daniel... who was... I can't remember. Did Cody Pride force that mistake? I think he did. I don't think there was any contact.
I think Daniel was moving on the braking. That's an interesting one. They were both trying to second-guess each other and trying to dummy each other. And it was a very weird move there. And I just don't know if there was any contact or if there was a slide there. We're going to see it again. Now, look. You have got here Daniel Gilding. He goes to the middle of the track. Good defense. And then the dummy there. And then a second dummy. You know what? There was no movement from Daniel.
There was netcode.
There was netcode. I've got to eat my words, though. I do apologize. I thought there was movement there from Daniel. There was no movement. He kept that car center of the track. And unfortunately, it just did not pay off for him. But all of a sudden, Cody Price, he just had a little slide. I'm about to jinx the man. I haven't even spoken about him yet. Almost goes off. But he is back up into P3. Wow. What a recovery drive from Cody Pride.
Yeah, what will happen here? So, oh, no, that was a bit naughty from Ethan Bass. That was very naughty from Ethan Bass. I mean, Stuart Reynolds tried to make, arguably, Stuart Reynolds, you know, he was in a position, he was trying to obviously make up some time. I mean, realistically, probably wasn't, almost, the battle seemed there to happen. I think Bass got a little bit just caught out there, maybe at the breaking point that Stuart Reynolds had. Unfortunately, that has dropped him down massively. And that's a bit of a shame. I don't know. It depends on where the move was made, but maybe a little bit of a compromise there for Ethan Bass, and a move that, yes, absolutely, you are entitled to do so. That certainly, Stuart Reynolds he's in the higher class. If he is fast, absolutely make the overtake. Just that scenario, weather may have given it another lap or so just to let Ethan Bass sort of try and battle and continue battling. Again, by the by, it's all happened now. We don't know the full facts there, so we're going to see if that's a penalty or not, or whatever happened there. However, though, Cody Pride is now just in front of Daniel Sedgley. So this is now the battle for P3 continuing, of which Cody Pride is now in that P3. Daniel Sedgley is in P4. He's got 0.6 of a second, and then he's in P3. Cody Pride gets a little bit wide on the mid-corner, but manages to get a nice drive onto the exit there. Just coming down to about 4 minutes remaining here, so a couple more laps. I don't know what Harley Hornton is doing, and I don't know what your lap calculator is showing. I don't know what your lap calculator is showing, Craig, but is it going to be...
Still saying 46. It's saying 45.04. So we're still looking at this here. So we've got this battle right here. You can see on the timing tower, we've still got this battle between the top of the pro-ams, Kohlberg and Matheson. You see Stauhagen and Haig, they're also having a little bit of a battle. So we've got the pro-ams and the amateurs completely locked in battle right now. This three-car battle is fantastic to watch. Really is fantastic to watch here. But like I said, with the other battles, Kohlberg and Mathis, don't forget Stauhagen and Haig. I think that one might be a little bit different, but we'll wait and see. These guys still battling on. Mathis has had a great race, but Kohlberg, come on. Hats off to Kohlberg. He has really worked up the field here. He gained... Whoa, 1 second. What's happened here? And that's essentially trying to go around Cody Pride. Let's get back onto this. It looks like Cody is going to hold on to this, but Daniel Sedgley is looking to make a move here. Very risky move into turn 8. It's all going on. And Cody Pride's gone a little bit wide. Are they going to go side by side? I don't think they are. Cut back, though, for Daniel Sedgley. May work for him. Can he get this cut back? Cody Pride knows he needs to defend. There is a drive here. He'll have to do it around the outside, but it's a braking corner. I don't think he'll do it. Has he got anything for 12? Well, Cody Price got a little bit wide, but he is going to hold on to this. I'm starting to lose my voice here. This is fantastic driving.
Well, I tell you what, Sedgwick's putting his car in the right place. He's got a good drive. The Porsche's got good drive as well. If anything, whoa, that was very, very low. I think Sedgwick got caught out a little bit there by Cody Pride in his braking zone. Cody Pride, he's just might be pushing his car a little bit too much here. Have a look at Ethan Bass, though. He's just sort of waiting. He's just waiting for something to go on and try and capitalise on the opportunity that comes up. As it stands, though, nothing as of yet. Sedgwick's putting his car in the right place. He's controlling what's happening here. Nowhere. He is absolutely controlling what is happening here. There's a possible change for the lead. Is Madsen going to try and go down to the inside? No, because Kelberg covers that inside. He's going to force Madsen round the outside. Is it going to be... Oh, there's a bit of contact. I mean, to me, that looked like Madsen came across, to be perfectly honest. I could be wrong from that camera angle. It's just what it looked like to me. Something has happened as well. Sedgwick got up the inside. Sedgwick's got up the inside. Sedgwick's now in P3. What has happened here? Cody Pride is lost. Ethan Bass is going to come up, possibly up. That's a bit of a lunge. Is he going to get it? Ethan Bass might come up into turn 2. The Porsche's got good drive. Sedgwick's actually... is Sedgwick going to be cut off? You know what? I think Cody Pride's going to get boxed in. Yes, he has. Cody Pride's been boxed in by Ethan Bass and Daniel Sedgley, but he's still on the inside. Is he going to make it? I tell you what, look at Chris Chatterton. Chris Chatterton's in a position all of a sudden. This is a podium position with 4 people battling for it. Chris Chatterton, he was what, 3 seconds back at one point? He's now possibly within a chance of a podium here.
Absolutely mental. We've got to keep an eye on Howley Horton, where he is, and what that will do. Is this the final lap? Is there 1 lap to go? We'll have a look, but this is absolutely mind-boggling. This is a 4-car battle all of a sudden, and this is for P3. This is for the last spot on the podium, and the important part of the podium, really, is getting on the podium. Can they make a move? They cannot. You're missing nothing elsewhere. This was the lead. This was the battle for the lead, though. This was Albin Kelberg, and unfortunately, Kelberg's had the pit. Not sure what's happened here. Kelberg has had the pit there. Don't tell me that is damage. It's Kelberg. Kelberg's had the pit. Hang on 1 second. Kelberg's in the pit. He's just come out the pit. He had a drive-through. Kelberg with a drive-through. The leader had a drive-through. The more I say that, the more I can't believe that. Svenny Madsen is leading by 13 seconds in the Pro-Am. All of a sudden, this battle between Sedgley, Pride, Bass, and Chatterton, it's for P2. Now, where's Harley Horton? He's going to cross the line. 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds. Does he take the white flag? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 seconds left on the clock. We're doing 1 more lap, Daniel. I hope you're ready.
Well, it's certainly going to be an intense-filled battle here, isn't it? Absolutely. But as you say, Cody Pride is now in P3, so he's still promoted to the position he was in. But that does mean Daniel Sedgley is up into P2. Ethan Bass is down there in P4. Then Chris Chatterton, I said P5. He's just sort of come up, and it almost looks to be... I'm not going to say anything until everyone crosses the line. Henning Haig, this is the last position here. This is the battle for the league in the AM category, bear in mind as well. Sauterhaug, he's going to have to defend a little bit. You can just see, I believe that's Thomas Reiter that's going to try and come through. Is it? No, that was Alex Gall, I think, actually, to be perfectly honest. Either way, is it going to be a position coming up for Sauterhaug? I don't know. I don't think so. Not as it stands at the moment. Where's Harley Horton? There he is coming into the final. It's actually the second half of the lap, so he's still got a fair bit of time to go. Haig has dropped a couple of tenths to Sauterhaug. So if Sauterhaug can just keep his composure, and he'll be pushing forward, and he won't be, again, just needs to keep his composure at this point. That's all he needs to do. We have Harley Horton a few more corners to go, and then he will be taking a very, very impressive victory here.
Yeah, he's got a few more corners. Remember, this battle for the amateurs, that is their last lap for them because they are lapped. So, just a couple more corners left for Harley Horton into my favourite section, 13, 14, 15. He comes to the stud curve. It had been dominance once he got into the lead. Harley Horton for Full Send Racing wins at Hockenheim. He wins in convincing fashion, but look behind. 8 seconds behind. Alex Gall will close the gap once again. And the gap now is going to be 10 points. Now let's get back to this because Ethan Bass is definitely now. He's got that P2 and it's all going on right now. He's made that move and Cody Pride looks to go to look for a move right now. He wants to try and go around the outside. He cannot make it. These guys are on their last lap and Cody Pride has to find a way around. He was on the podium step. He's lost the podium step. What can he do on these final few corners, into turn 11? Nothing. He has to find something in Sachs, but it's going to be so hard when Ethan Batten's already there. He needs to find a way around the outside. Can this? There's a touch! And he gets away with it. Everything's okay. You're seeing the leaders. They're coming across the line right now. Madsen, he gains the lead. Great. That's a shock result, though, after what happened with Kjellberg. Final few corners, essentially with fantastic P2. Ethan Bass is going to rob a P3 up the line, and Cody Pride gets fourth. What a finish by the Pro-Ams. Wow, what a finish.
Certainly so. Apologies, we were sitting aboard. We actually missed the AM category here. So South Hockenheimring crossed the line with about half a second in between them. Ingo Lapsian took P3 in that class. Oh, wow. What a race that was. We're going to bring you the full finishing results in a few moments' time when everyone crosses the line. But for the final 20 minutes, oh, that was a battle to watch and a half. Oh, my goodness. That was just ridiculous. I'm staggered. I am absolutely staggered. That was absolutely fantastic to watch. Absolutely fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
I can't speak. I kind of lost my voice there. That was fantastic racing. That I mean, I hate to bring it up again and again and again. Even Batson Ford at Hockenheim just took a P3, having to defend around the outside, the inside, forward, backwards, left and right. He was on the raggedy edge sometimes. Those battles with the Nomad drivers, he was having to make sure he kept the space and was able to hold those positions. I mean, even Bass just drove the socks off in that Ford, but he kept himself there. And then Daniel Sedgley, he managed, we didn't think he'd be able to do it at one stage, but that really late pit stop, I don't know how he did it, but it got him a P2. But all that battling, it just brought everybody together. Sedgley and Bats were battling. So Cody Pride came in, then Chris Chatterton, and all of a sudden it just became just one massive brawl. And then the moment they saw Kjellberg pitted for a drive-through, the floodgates opened. I mean, we've got to talk about the other battles as well. The amateurs, Haig and Sauerhaug had a little bit of a battle, but the Pro-Ams, my word, they delivered big time today.
They certainly did. Very, very true. We're going to bring up the results for you in a few moments. And then we're going to be hopefully having a chat with a few drivers. I'm very excited to have a chat with a couple of drivers. And then we're going to wrap up here. But where are the results? Here they are. So we're going to bring you the Pro category first, as they come up here. So Harley Horton taking that win by 8.3 seconds. A very, very dominant drive indeed. Alex Gal P2 with Bennett in P3, and then Nejlik and Huguenot in P4 and 5. Nick Madsen 6th, Stuart Reynolds in 7th, and Frederick Poches in P8, with Harry Wills unfortunately finishing 32 laps down, not able to finish. The Pro-Am categories as well, slightly bigger field here. Svenga Madsen taking that ultimate race win. Daniel Setti in 2nd, with Ethan Bass in P3. A very, very good drive as well from Sedgley, Bass, Pride, Chatterton. Just fantastic to watch, absolutely. So Chatterton in 5th, Kjellberg 6th, Richardson 7th with Joachim Code in P8. Thomas Reiter in 9th with Chris Whaley in P10. Daniel Gooding 11th, finishing 5 laps down, with Benson and Ron Hamilton finishing 25 laps down and 26 laps down respectively. And then the AM categories here. Tej Al-Saltahag of the slow mode up mode ultra, another win with Hede Hagen P2. Ingo Lapsian 3rd with Magnus Joland in P4. Fredrik Devoy in 5th, Werner S in 6th with Johan Assen in P7. Edson Mangera takes 8th, and we have Dean Timms finishing a lap down in P9, El Haddad in 10th, finishing 5 laps down, and then Simon Dodd 20 laps down. Certainly not the race that Simon Dodd would have wanted. And that is your finishing results for round number 7. Have we got a few drivers to chat with, Greg?
I'm afraid we don't at the moment. No one has come up with us, so that's a shame. I think everyone's still just cooling themselves down after that amazing. I know YouTube absolutely enjoyed that. The stream absolutely enjoyed that. I hope everybody enjoyed watching that racing. I mean, every week we say this was a great race, and I mean, it's almost like Lewis Hamilton saying it's the best fans. I think every race just ups the scale, ups the standard each time. It's been fantastic. I don't know about you, but I mean, I didn't think we could top last week, but we did. Now, even Bass here, I could call it the great robbery, but a P3 out of nowhere, even after what happened with the racing earlier. That has to be a great result, especially with the defending you were doing halfway through the race.
Until I heard it on the broadcast there after the race, I actually had no idea that was for third. All I wanted to do was just to get past Cody to try and make up ground in the championship. I had no idea Alpine had a penalty.
It caught us by surprise as well, but yes, there was a move, there was an incident there, and it did put him on a drive-through, which was really surprising, I must be honest. But yeah, it caught you off. Now tell me, you were having some crazy defending and attacking through turn 6, the hairpin, down into the next few corners a couple of times. How do you manage to make it too wide and then try and overtake around the outside, around corners like that? Not just in these cars, but especially in a Ford. Yes, I've got to bring the Ford card in again.
You have to bring the Ford card in because the Ford car hates all these first and second gear corners. The rear end grip is at a premium. It was a lot harder work than I wanted. I am, for once, out of breath after driving one of these because that was absolutely mental. I had no pace at all to catch spinning, so great win by him. He got behind me at one point, and I was just kind of almost thinking to myself, we should just let him by. But then I inadvertently made a mistake coming into the tight double left thing, so he just got by there. So I then just sat behind him, and there was no point in fighting him. I think he took pole, so he was definitely the fastest man tonight. This is probably the worst track for the car, but I made it work with probably the wrong amount of downforce because that's probably the only reason I got third, because it was a rocket in a straight line. But by contrast, it was awful once you got past the hairpin.
I remember a couple of nights ago you were saying you were trying to work out the right wing on that. That's just true. You say the car doesn't like first gear corners and second gear corners. We're at Red Bull Ring next week. Are we practically going to see the same thing right here? Because we know there are a couple tight corners around Red Bull Ring, slow corners, but then of course at the end of the track it's quite fast. So are we going to see a little bit of the same from tonight as well? Not the same setup, of course, because yeah, I think you're right, and it might have been a little bit too fast out there. But we expecting the same from you next week?
I was thinking that Red Bull and Hockenheim were going to be the weak tracks, but scraping a podium from that exceeded my expectations. And Red Bull Ring has at least some high-speed corners, so it will at least benefit the car somewhat, because there's what high-speed corners around here? There's just none. Like turn 1 is not really a corner, and it's curbs that I have to be careful for, and I have to do all manner of setup work to make it work. It was better than I expected, but it was still hard work. I hope it won't be too bad. I'll be able to fight, because at least that's one thing I can do. If I can just go around the outside through hairpins and just potentially work. I did it a couple of times tonight, did it a couple of times on the inside, which was not expected. I gave Cody as much room as I could as possible in the last lap, just in case we had overlap, and it was just a case of like, I don't want to die now, so let's just leave room. And then I somehow got the nose in front for the left-hander. That was some crazy, and I was actually quite lucky in the opening laps to survive some unfortunate people spinning that probably could have got a podium tonight if it was for if the luck was on their side.
Yeah, luck was on your side, and hopefully luck will be on your side next week. But before we let you go, have you got any shout-outs to give out before you go and give yourself a little bit of a cool down in the shower after that workout?
Oh, this workout indeed. I mean, maybe it's a benefit to me. I'm only on the G29, so that wasn't too hard. It's still a case of I need to wind on the force feedback for some field. But as for partners, I have to thanks to Racing Hero for hosting this league, and Pro Simrig for the potential prizes, as well as Sim3D, and for the gap as well as Driver 61, and you boys for the broadcast, because that was great. And then thanks to our partners at FitStyfe, I hope everyone gets behind all of them, especially fight colorectal cancer, because they put that kind of work out into getting rid of things. And, I'm going to lie down.
Ethan, we'll let you lie down. It sounds like you're absolutely out of breath. Congratulations on a fantastic race and that well-deserved P3. We look forward to seeing you fit and healthy and not out of breath next week for Red Bull Ring. So Ethan, all the best and good evening.
Thank you very much, lads, and catch you next week.
Now, from one driver who had a fantastic race to one driver who also had a fantastic race and won the race, it's Harley Horton. Harley, congratulations. I mean, this kind of feels like Daytona, because you started trying to work your way up the field at Daytona, and then once you got the lead, you just took over. Kind of felt the same today. Were you surprised at how far you were pulling away from the rest of the drivers?
Yeah, it was a very similar race to Daytona in sort of the aspect that, you know, we were working our way sort of up through the field, and then once we got to the front, it was just went from there really. I mean, we started off, all of us in a train, fuel saving at the start. I think we were going 2 extra laps on fuel. It was pretty ridiculous the amount of fuel we were saving. So when I did the move on Cass, he didn't try and get back past me, and then when I got up to Alex, I mean, I could see his tyres were starting to drop off, because the Ferrari is pretty heavy on tyres. So I just made the move, and then from there, couldn't save any more fuel, but it didn't really matter. There wasn't much to be gained from fuel saving again, just like Daytona, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, I found that interesting, because I know you lost a little bit of time in the first pit stop. I think they pulled a second on you, but
Yeah.
then there was no need for fuel saving. Do you find it easier not to fuel save in these situation, in these races? Because I know, like, the quote unquote meta at the moment is the train set that we see from the pros, all 7, the top 7 all in a train. Do you find it easier just to go out full pelt and just, you know, hope for the best, or do you think the fuel saving is probably the better way?
Well, it can depend. I think for a race, you know, like a 6 or a 12-hour even, it's definitely a good idea to be fuel saving. But when you get in the rhythm and you're on your own in these sprint races, you can just get to it every lap. When you're in a train, you're always backing off and trying to not hit the guy in front, and you know, there's a lot more things to worry about. When you're on your own, you can just push, and that seems to work better for me. So that's sort of how I've been trying to go about it this season.
So Red Bull Ring next week. What do we expect to see from you? Is it one of your favourite tracks? I know it's a very popular track in the sim at the moment. Are you looking forward to Red Bull Ring?
Yeah, I've not driven too much GT3 around there. I did the European Sprint Series sort of last week there, and it's a really fun track in the LMP2. So we'll get to work on the setup and whatever, and practice in the next few days, and hopefully it'll be a good race.
So before we let you go, of course, you can have a bit of a rest. Any shout-outs before we let you go?
I'd just like to say thanks to all the team and everyone who's been watching and supporting. It is really good to have a team like Full Send around me. It's definitely helped me get to where I am. So yeah, thank you to those guys. And thank you to you guys for the thank you to you guys for the broadcast. It's been great once again. Obviously, I don't get to watch it, but I might go and have a quick watch now. Definitely.
Oh, thank you very much. No, Harley, congratulations. It was a good win once again. Second win of the season, and hopefully there'll be more to come, even though there's only 3 races left. Harley, congratulations. All the best, and we hopefully will see you next week.
Thank you very much. See you guys next week.
Well, Daniel, like I said, every week it gets better and better and better, and that was fantastic. And like I said, next week we're at the Red Bull Ring, which promises to be, you know, hopefully the same again. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us on Absolute Sim Racing once again. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and hit the thumbs up. It helps with those YouTube algorithms. A shout out, of course, to our sponsors, of course, Race Anywhere, Sim3D, and also Go for the Gap, and of course also the website links, the World Series website, our website. All the links are underneath the video. So until next week, don't forget we have the Transatlantic Series coming up, but we will be back for the World Series next Wednesday, Red Bull Ring. So for myself and Daniel Handover, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a very good evening. So until next time, goodbye.